you're looking for intellectual, informed basketball takes, and you want to bring in media that knows what they're talking about, look no further than.
Fastbreaks, yeah, we coming with the takes. Never early, never late, but we always push the pace, yeah. And we really study tape, y'all just view the highlights. Man, we really watching games, yeah. You just watch from the stands. We run 3-man weeks, Paul, Trey, and Allen, yeah. Way more than a fan. We got love for the game. We don't have to pretend. Got it out the mud like you get it off the glass. I'm the run the fast breaks, throw me the outlet. Yeah, we got it out the mud like you get it off the glass. Time to run the fast breaks, throw me the outlet. We on the break. It's fast breaks. We on the break. It's fast break. Let's go.
Jason Tatum, I told you all about that, man.
What up, though? What up?
I told you all about that, man. I told you all about that, man.
Thank you for joining us on another beautiful Saturday. Well, it's afternoon. Look at that man. Look.
I told y'all about that, man. I told y'all that chip. Nobody cares about that chip for a reason.
Thank you for joining us on another beautiful Saturday afternoon. There's plenty to talk about. We're going to jump right into it. We're down one man, but we still are fast breaks. I am Roller Host with the mostest. Above me is Coach Paul and King Dre, and we are going to get into it. Let me get a rebound real quick.
Paul, you got this one.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to break the fourth wall. Andre is quite mad with us. But he's showing up to do his job at who?
Yeah. Since you want to bring beef, since you want to bring issues from before the podcast started, since you want to bring the issues from before the podcast started.
Me?
You mad with you?
I'm
mad with me?
What? No.
Look at this deflection.
You can't be mad with me.
What do you mean?
You can't be. I was the last one here.
Oh wow.
No.
Oh.
This is the issue. Okay. All right.
Don't say
all
us.
right. You're
don't
lucky.
Say us.
Listen.
I was on the phone with that man an hour ago. This guy tried it. He tried it.
Wait, you said 3 minutes. I came on 15 minutes later. It don't matter what you were doing.
I was on the phone with him an hour ago. So
it don't matter. You said 3 minutes and you came on 15 minutes later. Who cares?
Hey! We're not doing this right now. Let's talk about that.
Paul again. He brought it up. He said, "Mad with us." I do nothing wrong.
God, we're gonna talk. We're gonna be saved and sanctified this morning and talk about basketball. Okay.
Y'all go ahead and get your Knicks takes off. Do what you gotta do. I'm gonna mute up.
You're gonna mute up? I thought it was Boston Pack all day. You heard? What happened to that?
I agree, but y'all don't want me to join in with y'all right now.
I do actually. I want you to forsake the Lakers.
Paul doesn't. Paul does not.
I want you to forsake the Lakers I'm
not gonna do that, but I'm sure Paul doesn't want me to join in the celebrating of the Celtics' demise. I'm gonna let y'all take care of it.
Listen, so you agree to demise?
I'm gonna tell you, I'll let Paul talk about Jason Tatum. I'm sorry about Jalen Brunson because there's a lot to talk about. Let me say this. Mikal Bridges has been getting disrespected for 365 days. Okay, let me say it one more time. Mikal Bridges has been getting disrespected for 365 mother-loving days. All right, and this man is locking people up in the last. He's locking up the best American player in basketball efficiently and almost effortlessly. He is working incredibly hard. He is going on personal runs, and this is why he was worth getting paid. Because in those last moments where Jalen Brunson's tired, where Cat is tired, where OG, where they realize that they actually have to guard him, the Celtics don't have enough guys to guard all the hitters we got. And Mikal Bridges keeps turning out to be that fourth hitter. All right, he keeps turning up to be that guy that's going to start getting you on a run in the fourth, that's going to guard your best player. That's what we paid him for. That's what we went out to get. I heard Nick Wright say this, that we built a team, that the Celtics built a team that was created to win a championship, and the Knicks built a team to beat the Celtics. Let me add to this. They are one and the same. The Celtics, I don't care how the Thunder did out east. I don't care how west, I'm sorry. I don't care how the Cavs are doing. I don't give a damn about any of that. The Boston Celtics were the best team in basketball, and we are putting their asses on the line and kicking them out the playoffs. That's what's happening. I would not be surprised if we sweep them, but I am not an irrational person, so I'm still saying Knicks in 6. All right, and that's
it's over for that. 5 at least. It's over for that. It's over for that.
5 at least, and Knicks in 6 are the same.
Ain't no 6. Nah. Okay. 5 at least.
Might as well say a sweep. Might as well.
At most.
There you go. Okay, that's a different sentence. There you go.
5 at most. Yeah.
Listen, I'm not gonna say. I'll say a lot. I'm not gonna sit here and disrespect the Boston Celtics like that.
No, I am. They disrespected themselves.
They did. They are a good team. My lighting's a little messed up. Y'all ain't telling me nothing.
They're overrated, and they got no dog. They got no heart.
They got no heart. They got no dog.
That's why they're overrated. Listen, let me tell you something.
And this is last thing I'm going to say. And this is their last best chance because they can't afford this roster next year.
That's a fact. They could only get worse.
They gotta win now. So last year might have been a one and done. We shall see. But I'll tell you this: the Knicks look like they're about to roll straight through them. And then whether the Pacers, the Cavs, I don't care about any of that. It looks like the Knicks are going to the finals.
Let me see. Hold on. All right. So last year in the first round, they played the Miami Heat. Did Jimmy Butler play?
Part of it. I think he was injured part of this series.
I think he was injured too, right?
He's been honestly, this is like the first year he hasn't been injured. He's been injured since he won that chip. Or since they went to the finals. I'm sorry. So 2 years.
I mean, when the Heat beat us.
Let me fix my lighting. I'll be right back.
Listen. I don't remember. The Heat were a significantly inferior team to the Celtics, right? Then they play the Cavs. Donovan Mitchell goes out like game 3 or something like that, or 2. And doesn't come back. Then they play the Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton, same thing. Then they play the Mavericks. The only team that they really gave that was really fully healthy against the Celtics was the Dallas Mavericks in the finals. And it was a bad matchup. All they did was go on Luka. That's
apparently Luka wasn't healthy.
And Luka wasn't healthy last year?
That's what they say.
That's what they say. Okay. So when y'all want to act like I'm crazy out there, when I was talking about how it was an easy trip, we didn't learn anything about the Celtics last year. They had a lot of talent and they were healthier. They were arguably more talented than not arguably. They were definitely more talented than the teams they played against. And they were healthier. That just makes it like, just here you go. Here's the chip. They just gave, it was too easy for them. So what's going on this year is that the New York Knicks are healthy and we're actually the best team that they've played in the last 3 years in the playoffs. By far, we're the best team they played in the last 3 years.
3?
I'm talking 23, 24, 25. Not
I agree with that sentence. I actually agree with that.
We are the best team. We fight
in the playoffs. In the
playoffs, we fight. We play hard. We have talent, right? And the thing about it is that what the Celtics did is, instead of challenging Jason Tatum to be better, what they did was They just got more talent. They got KP. They got Drew Holiday. And then Derek White ascended. So right now, what you see is a Jason Tatum that I told y'all about. I told y'all he's not like that. Just as, yes, he has the 40-point games, 35-point games, but he's had some duds in the playoffs as well. And right now, what we are doing is we are forcing Jason Tatum to score on us one-on-one. That's it. On the offense, on the defensive end, that's what we're doing. We are switching. I've been begging Tom Thibodeau to switch all year. There's an argument that he waited to the playoffs to debut these new looks. I don't know if that's true or not. It could be true. I don't know because I've seen him in the playoffs.
It's very old school standard coaching to do that.
It is
coaching.
It is, but at the same time, I've seen him implement defensive schemes that were just horrible in the playoffs before. Not this year, but previous years on the Knicks, right? So I don't know which one it is, but switching is forcing Jason Tatum. Jaylen Brown is getting it done, but it's forcing Jason Tatum to be like Kobe, like he wants to be. And it's not working because he's not like that. He's bad. Let me say this, right? You know how sometimes these memes that we see online, sometimes it's based in nonsense, right? You know how sometimes these takes that you hear online on even on TV, it's just hyperbole. It's not always the case. This man had a deeper bag earlier in his career. And I don't care. I don't care if it was the Celtics that asked him to play like this. I don't care who it is. It's his career. And it's his team. And he's supposed to be the best player, right?
What does the bag have to do?
Wait, hold on. Wait. Before we go down that rabbit hole, Jaylen Brown's getting it done?
No.
More than Tatum?
No.
Are you sure about that?
No.
Are you sure about that?
Jaylen Brown has been a bigger threat. No, I'm not doing this. The Jaylen Brown disrespect has to stop. Jaylen Brown has.
Should I read the stats? Should I read the stats?
Put your shiesty away. Stop trying to rob this man. Leave him alone.
Listen, there
Should
are.
I read the stats?
In the first half of game 2.
Let him make his
Who
point.
was the better performer, Tatum or Brown?
I'm not. No one asked. You said Jaylen Brown is getting it done. I'm isolating that statement in a vacuum.
Okay,
you said Jaylen Brown is getting it done.
Let me be specific.
You're crazy if you think that Jaylen Brown is getting it done.
He's getting it done more than Tatum,
which is not saying much at all.
No. But you don't get to say that's not saying much. You don't get to say that's not saying much.
I have eyes.
No. You've been a Tatum defender.
Wait a second.
Yes, and they're both playing like trash.
No.
Paul.
Who's playing worse?
Paul.
I don't think there's actually a difference.
I actually agree with Pharaoh.
They're both playing garbage.
This guy's supposed to be Boston K, man.
They're both playing garbage.
What you're doing is intellectually dishonest. Because
no, it's not.
It is.
It's literally. Wait.
No, I let you finish.
I'm not finished.
What do you mean?
Hold
on.
Paul,
you spoke uninterrupted for a good 4 to 6 minutes straight.
Come on, man. What I'm going to say is going to take 30 seconds, and then you can go off. All right? The reason why I say it's intellectually dishonest is because you can't look at a pile of trash and a pile of basura and say which one's worse. It's the same. They're getting clamped. They're getting clamped the F up. They're getting clamped entirely.
Also, your previous year take about Jaylen Brown saving Tatum, like you already have acknowledged that like they can win if Tatum plays bad. So if they're sure. But that even more says my point. Like the lack of Jaylen Brown saving Tatum in your words would lend to then the observation that he's also playing very bad.
No, maybe it's that we, like I said,
but you can't reverse yourself. You said in your opinion, he's as good, if not better than Tatum.
Okay.
That's an untrue statement.
No, but regardless of that, if you believe that, then you should be holding him more accountable for how bad he's playing, not giving him credit for playing slightly better than Tatum. He's supposed to be better than Tatum. So
I'm not a Celtics fan. I'm not part of the Celtics organization.
So
Tatum is supposed to be the guy.
But I'm talking about your take. I'm talking about your take. I'm talking about
My
your
take.
take. Is that Jaylen Brown is better, right?
My take is that it don't matter if I think Brown is as good or better because they're the ones that are giving the team to Tatum.
Yeah, but it matters.
It doesn't matter. I can say what I want. It doesn't matter. The responsibility.
Yeah, but your take has to be consistent.
Is on Tatum to be the guy. No, Jaylen Brown can't say. If that's the case, Jaylen Brown cannot save the Celtics against the Knicks. It gotta be Tatum. He's not getting it done.
No, but but you see how like it's a self-serving perspective. Like if you in your heart believe that Jaylen Brown is better than Tatum, then you should be putting equal blame on him for how bad he's playing and the fact that they're losing. Because in your mind, he's the best player on the team. But because the narrative is that Tatum is the best, you have smoke for Tatum.
I'm giving the edge to Brown in the play. I can look at a pile of trash. But that's
what I'm saying.
Look at a pile.
That's inconsistent. If he's the better player, then how bad he's playing is worse. Because if anything, wait, Paul, hear me out. Because if anything, according to we're staying within your universe of take, right? According to your universe. Hold on, but look.
What?
See, and that's what I'm calling out. You don't want to stay in your own universe of take.
Are you saying your take is not in reality?
It's not. If I think Brown is as good, and wait, no, this is not.
Got him. I got him.
No, you did not.
I got him.
No. You gotta.
No, you're actually confusing me.
This is straight foolishness. What y'all are saying.
No, it's not. I'm holding you accountable to your take.
If I think Brown is as good as Tatum, but they don't think that. That matters a lot because they're giving the reins to Tatum. Tatum is the one that's supposed to be taking most of the shot, who's handling the offense. If they give the responsibility to Tatum, it don't matter what I think. So what are you talking about?
Yes, it does. Of course it does.
It doesn't matter what.
We're on our platform, and I'm asking you about your take.
Our platform notices that Tatum is supposed to be the best player on that team according to what they do, right?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm saying if that's the case, what I have seen from Brown has shown
the biggest problem with what you're saying. Jaylen Brown is the reigning Eastern Conference Finals MVP and Finals
everybody want to say that Tatum is better than him still.
He is.
But in the reality you're talking about, that's not the universe our takes. In reality, what did the league say?
Well,
he got awarded both those awards. So does that not come with responsibility and smoke for bad play?
Not as much as the so-called best player.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Hold on. So Andre Iguodala should have gotten more responsibility when he won the Finals MVP than Curry?
No.
Let's see who's intellectually dishonest.
He had a lot of responsibility in 16.
Let's see who's intellectually dishonest. Y'all are wild.
Wait. He had a lot. The thing is, you're saying.
So then, Paul, if you're saying that, then don't jack those Finals MVPs as evidence that Brown is better than Tatum ever again. Because you don't believe that if you don't want to put responsibility on him. You don't believe
what I want. It's what they do.
No, I'm talking about your take though. If you actually believe he's better, then you want to use the MVPs as evidence that he's better, then that has to come with something. You can't pick and choose when you want to hold him responsible if you actually think he's the best player.
I use these 2025 Knicks versus Celtics series as evidence. At least in the first half, you could say Jaylen Brown played better than Jason Tatum. If you want to say game one, they both didn't play well.
8 of 23. The man was 8 of 23.
He played better in the first half. That's an objective fact. He was eating Josh Hart alive.
What an irrelevant stat.
Jason Tatum ain't do nothing close to that.
All right, hold on.
And this is why
wait. We can investigate this because we can go quarter.
No.
In the first half,
hold on. Look, quarter one. 3 of 7 for 6 points. Cool. That's a decent quarter. Quarter 2. 4 of 9 for 11 points. So he had a pretty good second quarter.
Half.
He had a pretty good second quarter.
First half, 3 of 7 is bad.
You're saying 4 of 9 within that quarter or for the whole game?
That quarter. Oh, no, you're right. No, you're right. Hold on. No, yeah, quarter two by itself, he was 4 of 9.
So he took 9 shots. No, I don't think this is a good half at all.
No, Andre, what do you say? Don't embarrass yourself.
No.
9 is not bad.
Paul, for the half,
and quarter one, he was 3 of 7.
That means he went.
That's not that bad either.
Paul, that means he went 7 of 16 for the half. That's not good. That's 39%. What are we talking about?
That's not 39%.
Yes, it is.
7 of 16?
7 of 16. 7 of 14 is 50%.
8 of 16 is 50.
Yeah, I know. That's how percentages work, guy. It's probably somewhere between 39 to 42%. Do it in your calculator.
It's probably about 40. It's probably about 43, 44%.
I'll do the math right now. I'll do the math right now. Hold on. Nobody say anything until I'm done. 43%.
Thank you.
43.75. So we'll do 44%.
So then in quarter 3 he goes 1 of 3. Then in quarter 4 he goes 0 of 4. But because he went 7 of 16 in the first half, we're jacking. He like distinctly played better
than Tatum.
Wait, he went 7 of 16 for how many total points?
Like, y'all are talking to me like I'm crazy.
17.
I'm tired of the Tatum defense.
No. I'm not jacking that. He had 17
He's
points.
Not like that. He's not like he got worse. His bag got worse.
Say that out loud.
As his career went.
Can you do me a favor? Can you say this out loud? 17 points on 16 shots. Is that good or bad?
That's not horrible. That's
not.
One could surmise that if I look at the shot attempts by corner, one could surmise Jaylen Brown's aggressiveness prevented Tatum from getting in any rhythm. Because if I look at the shot attempts, quarter 1, Jaylen Brown goes 3 of 7, Tatum goes 0 of 3. Now we all know that they went up 20 in this game, right? So let's look how that 20-point lead gets started. Jaylen Brown takes 7 shots in the first quarter. Tatum takes 3. Horford takes 4. White takes 4. Holiday takes 3. Pritchard takes 3. Right? So they don't get Jason Tatum going early. Quarter 2, Jason Tatum goes 1 of 4. Jaylen Brown goes 4 of 9. So again, and then Derek White takes 5 shots. So this is 2 straight quarters where there are at least 2 to 3 players that are shooting more than Jason Tatum, but they have a 20-point lead, so they think they're safe. Now the Knicks start coming back, and now what do they say? Oh, now Tatum, you got to carry us. Jaylen Brown stops shooting. He goes 1 of 3. Now Tatum just starts to try to shoot and get rhythm. He goes 3 of 7.
You could say he just
quarter 4. Jaylen Brown goes 0 of 4, and they say Tatum and Horford carry us. And Tatum goes 1 of 5, and Horford goes 1 of 6. There's a multiple stories that you can try to peel from that, other than just Brown got it done and Tatum didn't get it done. Brown came out chucking, and hit just enough of his shots to get points. And everyone else was jacking threes. Tatum wasn't getting any looks early in the game. And then at the end of the game, they go to him and tell him be a savior when he has no rhythm. And he doesn't shoot well. That's an equally plausible way to look at the game. I'm just pointing that out. So to say Jaylen Brown got it done, you could say Jaylen Brown's was overly aggressive and that it worked for the first half and it got up 20. And then when he went cold, no one else on the team had a touch.
Accurate.
I mean,
that's not accurate.
That's not accurate. If you watch, like I said, if you watch the game, that's not accurate.
I watched the game, so tell me why it wasn't accurate.
It's not accurate because it implies that Jaylen Brown just went cold and Tatum said, all right, it's my turn. That's not what happened. What happened is Tatum decided to go out there and try and be this guy, but he's not getting it done. You know why? Because he only takes threes and go. Let me explain something to y'all, right? I'm gonna
let you go. No, I'm gonna let you go because I have a very, very significant, like specific response to what you just said. Because we're saying the same things, and my whole point is that you're choosing to look. We're looking at the same record of events. We agree about the facts. You're choosing to assume the mindset of the players that led to those events, and I'm saying that assumption could be wrong. That's all I'm saying. But go ahead. If it is wrong, I'm still holding Tatum accountable. He's the guy, right? That's unfair. That's not unfair. What are we talking about? Go ahead. I'm looking at. Listen. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking Jalen Brunson over Tatum right now. You know why I'm taking him over Tatum? Of course. But you know what I'm seeing? I'm gonna give you credit. You know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing. Guess what I'm seeing? Rear its ugly head again. I'm seeing their incompatibility starting to show worse than it ever has. That's actually what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing. And I think and I think a lot of people were afraid of this when Brown got those MVPs, the conference finals MVPs and finals MVPs. I'm seeing the inner competition be their downfall. Actually, Dre, do you have any opinion on that before Paul goes off? Because that's actually, I'm actually seeing the incompatibility of those two players rear its ugly head once again, and worse than it ever has. Because now it's actually leading to them losing games. I'm seeing that it's impossible for them two to eat at the same time. And Paul, to your point, and Paul, to your point, they got through it last year because the teams were weaker, but they were competing, and it led to Tatum not playing well and Brown playing well, but they were able to get through it. And now we're seeing as a good team, that's not going to work. Brown being overly aggressive and shooting a bunch of shots early in the game, and Tatum as the guy not being allowed to get rhythm going early. But then when the dynamics shift at the end of the game, and then the team decides that, and again, I'm going to say the team decides that Tatum has to be the one to carry, they're now asking him to carry when he shot 6 shots in the first half.
You agree with this comment?
I agree.
Yes, I think that was actually the death knell to the combo. Was them giving Brown the MVPs, because they've secured in his head that Jaylen Brown is supposed to play this ultra aggressive style, especially early in games. But yet the team and the coaching still says, Tatum, you have to be the closer. That's never changed, and that doesn't work. That doesn't work. You can't have Brunson has never gone a first half shooting the ball 6 times. Are you dumb?
He has Karl-Anthony Towns on the team. When you watching,
does he go a first half shooting 6 shots?
Can I jump in here?
There are times when Cat got it going, and he's like, "Yo,
hold on." In the playoffs, we could just go on the record. Do you think in this playoffs alone there has been a single There hasn't been a single game where Brunson has shot 6 shots, because he would probably tell you as a clutch player, there's no way you're going to tell me to be a clutch player where the majority of my shots of the night are going to come in the fourth quarter. That's ridiculous.
He went like 7%. No, but he's done.
Hey,
no, he was
another commentator here, right? Hold on.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Thanks. The thing is, and to the compatibility point, when we talk about Jalen Brunson and Cat, the way they score their points are complementary to one another.
Correct.
Right? And the only way a dynamic and it hasn't worked thus far in the last 2 decades, really. The only way a dynamic like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown will work is if one of the two guys decides they're going to be Pippen and the other is going to be Jordan. And right now, thanks to the media, that comment's correct. Thanks to the media and thanks to you, Paul, low key, Jaylen Brown thinks he's Jordan.
Yeah.
And he's just not.
He's better than.
Because you know why? No, but Jaylen Brown, but Paul, this is the point we're getting to, because here's the thing. In the universe of your mind and Jaylen Brown's mind, where he is the better player, regardless of what the team thinks, then you should get it done in the second half. Don't play like you're the best player in the first half.
No matter what the team thinks. No.
Crazy. If you take all the shots in the first half, don't vacate the throne in the second half and then put it on Tatum's head. Don't do that. That's what I'm
saying. Kyrie going off in the first half shouldn't let LeBron do what he wants to do in the second half.
What?
That's never how that went, though.
Yes,
that's never how that would go.
Literally, everyone knew the dynamic. Everyone knows who they are. That's the thing.
That's never how they operated. To your point, you're right. It would be saying that, and I'm saying that's never what happened.
There was
never a game where LeBron. Yeah, there was never a game where LeBron. Right, there was never a game where LeBron sat back a whole first half. And then try to take over in the fourth quarter. That's never happened.
If Jaylen Brown did what you wanted him to, or what you said he should think he should do,
I'm not at a point where I'm past the point of saying should anymore, because Jaylen Brown is a good player. I'm now come to where you were years ago and saying I don't know if this is going to work, and I think it's partly because of the success that Jaylen Brown's had. I don't know if he's capable of playing a role, and to your point as well, a lot of this is me agreeing with you. I'm just trying to keep you on consistent with your takes. I think the team gasses Tatum up so much that he's not going to take the role, so they haven't really set up a dynamic between the two of them that is going to work.
Here's a problem, right, with your takes, where you think you're agreeing with
your takes.
You think you're agreeing with me, and you are to a certain extent, but this is where we part ways, and we need to address this.
Mm-hmm.
The ways in which Jaylen Brown scores, right, is a better way, particularly in the playoffs, is a better way to score than in the ways in which Tatum tries to score. Not just play make. I'm talking specifically
Pause right there.
scoring.
Pause right there. That's a great argument. Let me just respond to it, and I'm not going to be long, so we can go back and forth. Have we not all acknowledged that in the past 2 years there's been a distinct change in his play style?
Yes.
Who's Tatum's?
Tatum's, right?
Okay.
Tatum, who for the majority of their careers, excluding these last 2 years, has been the better playoff performer of the two of them. If we had to compile playoff, right? So the idea that intrinsically Tatum's style is not good for the playoffs is only a recent development. And I think that's what guys like me and Andre keep pointing out.
Right.
What has also simultaneously happened at that time? Jaylen Brown's emergence, right? So again, this is what I'm pointing to. Jaylen Brown's emergence in talent, skill, and also confidence. It's not a coincidence that that's coinciding with all of a sudden Jason Tatum is now playing a different way and it's less effective.
Right. And that's exactly the point.
The team has not managed this well. They've empowered Brown, and the way he scores is very effective, but it's clearly having an effect on Tatum's game to where now he's regressing, and they haven't addressed it and figured that out. And it may be because you can't figure it out. And Tatum actually is the one who's just accepting it and still trying to do what he's supposed to do, and it resulted in a chip, but then he gets penalized for it by not winning the MVP when he's the one saying, hey, high key, if I wanted it my way, I'd be playing the way I used to, where I was Mr. 50-point game 7 multiple times in my career as a young player. But because this guy is getting better and y'all tell me I need him to be good for us to win, I'm letting him get his ish off, even though it's negatively affecting my game.
Okay.
But then guys like you who want to argue he's better than me still want to give me all the smoke when we lose.
Do you
see what I'm saying? Let Andre get in on that. Do you see what I'm saying there?
So, and just to throw in a wrinkle and turn the notch up a little bit, the bigger problem is they're having a role reversal, and they need to go back to their respect. Because here's the thing: the way Jaylen Brown tries to score now is the way Tatum used to, and because he's not as effective as a player and he's not as good as a player, unfortunately, he's not seeing the same success.
Disagree.
He's way less efficient. We can agree on that. So when Tatum was the aggressor, Tatum was an extremely efficient player.
Let me ask you this: who's the better 3-point shooter between the two?
Tatum.
Right. So the idea is, Jason, you can go hit those threes. You can expand the game. And because you have these dynamic ways of scoring, you don't necessarily
let Brown be the downhill aggressive player.
Let Brown be the downhill aggressive player. That way we can expand on the offense. The reason why that is so stupid.
This is real talk, Paul. This is real
basketball.
Bro. Come on, bro.
Jason Tatum is a 6'10" powerhouse that can go against anybody in the league.
They have switched roles in the offense. It's a fact.
Nonsense. Let me know when y'all are done.
Nonsense. It's not. Let me tell you this.
Come on, bro.
You want me to tell you, or you want to just keep talking?
You know why I know it's not nonsense? Because every time Jaylen Brown isn't on the floor, I see Jason Tatum at the rim.
Still bricking shots.
I'm sorry?
Still bricking shots. Listen, man, I'm tired of this. Hold on.
He's not always breaking them shots.
Hold on. Farrell. He's objectively playing horrible.
We don't disagree with that. We don't disagree with that.
Well, actually, hold on.
I disagree with that. Better than anything Tatum has done in this whole series.
Paul, we don't disagree with that.
Hold on.
Do you hear what I'm saying?
I understand y'all point. I understand. Y'all don't understand my point.
Then stop saying things we're not saying. We agree with that.
No. But y'all not understanding my point.
Wait, no.
We are.
No, you're not. You're not.
Dre, let Paul go. Let Paul go. We just spoke for Matt. We just spoke for Matt long. Let him go.
Let Andre finish it though.
We need the asterisk. The asterisk is we all keep saying, or Paul, you keep saying he's playing objectively bad. He's playing objective. Man had 13 rebounds and 5 steals last night.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. He's playing. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that, bro. I'm not doing that. Dre, know that I agree with you in the global concept, but we're talking about something very specific, and he's playing bad, and it actually is part of my analysis that I think he is playing bad because his main role is to be the scorer on the team.
Agreed.
But what you just said earlier, I think is an absolute fact. Jaylen Brown, in the original makeup of this team, Jaylen Brown as a true second option was a spot up guy more. And what was the problem? That he couldn't shoot that
Hit
well.
the shot.
Jason Tatum, and it resulted in Tatum not having enough spacing, and that's where we get games like 2020 where Tatum gets blocked at the rim by Bam because Bam can help off of Jaylen Brown. And Jason Tatum used to be the downhill aggressor of this team. That's when you used to see all the bag because he was the penetrator, and that's how it worked. But Jaylen Brown was not a knockdown shooter and not a spacer, so they switched their offense. They said, like you said, Tatum, you're the 3-point shooter. We want more of the threes of our offense being taken by you. Let Jaylen Brown be the downhill guy. That has worked extremely well for Jaylen Brown. That has allowed Jaylen Brown to play relatively productively. But we can all admit he's still not that efficient of a scorer, even with that play style being towards his strength. And it's relegated Tatum to looking to score from the 3-point line and be a spacer. And that's not working well for him at all. These are all things that you've said before, Paul. And before you go off and tell us how bad Tatum's playing, please stop saying that to us like we disagree with that. You have to have a point that's responding to what we're saying.
Every time I say y'all cut me off, that's a problem. I'm going somewhere. Y'all don't understand my point. Y'all really don't. Hold on. This is the problem, right? First of all, Pharaoh, you yourself said that Kevin Durant, when he was playing with Westbrook, no matter how much they might have clashed and it didn't work out, you still held Kevin Durant accountable and said he should have stood up more, manned up, and said, hey, this is my team. Westbrook, stand down.
I agree with that to today, and I'm ready to put that on Tatum, but that's not what we were talking about.
So no.
You're just now bringing that up for the first time.
Wait. So therefore, right now, you're saying that Tatum and Brown are clashing, right?
Yeah.
They are down 2-0 in the series. No matter what I think, Tatum has been given the keys, and Brown knows this himself too. Tatum's been given the keys to the Celtics organization. So therefore,
did I
no
not
matter
say
what
that?
I think, the pressure,
I like it.
The accountability
must
be placed
on
Jason Tatum.
I like that, Paul. But if you're gonna go with that take, then you have to admit coaching is a part of it. Because in my take with KD and Russell, I said that KD had to buck not just against Russell, he had to buck against what the coaching was doing and empowering Russell. So then you have to acknowledge our point that this is part of the team's vision, and that's what's messed up about it.
But y'all are not acknowledging my point that we should be holding
I just did. If you want to hold him accountable from the standpoint of if you want to hold him accountable from this standpoint of he should be changing the way they play so that he could be effective, then I would agree with you. This is the first time you've ever had that angle. You have always had the angle of just Brown is better than him and Tatum's not that good. But if you want to say actually Tatum is better than Brown, but he's not asserting himself and asserting influence enough to allow the team to play to his strengths, then I would 100% agree with you. But you've never said that before this moment. Not one time have you ever said that before this moment.
What did I say earlier, though?
If you say that right now, then we are lockstep in agreement.
What did I say earlier? I said the way in which Tatum is scoring, right? And y'all think I'm just talking about the spots in which he decides to score. Listen,
but you hold that as his play style and not him demanding to play in a way that's more suitable to him. You've never said that. You've never said that. So if you're saying that today, that the accountability on Tatum is that he needs to dictate the offense more for him to be effective, then we agree. But you are just always saying he's not good.
Well,
those are two very different statements.
So when I understand what you're saying. When I say, right, that y'all should be saying that he should be held accountable, right, and should be bucking against the coach and Jaylen Brown, I'm talking about what y'all are saying. Y'all think about Tatum. Based on what y'all think about Tatum, he should be doing exactly what KD, according to what y'all are saying, right? What I am saying,
we agree with that.
Okay, but what I am saying now, this is my thought process.
Okay,
right? My thought process is this: Jason, I don't care if he's at the 3-point line, in the mid range, or in the paint. Jason Tatum got Jalen Brunson on him, and he can't score him. Jason Tatum got Josh Hart on him. He can't score him. Jaylen Brown got Josh Hart on him. He ate. He went on a personal run.
Okay.
Right? Jason Tatum is not. Y'all y'all are, especially you, Farrah, you're trying to mind read Jason Tatum and saying that he wants to play in that old way and the team wants him to play in this new way.
We've been watching
You could
it for
see
years.
what's going on. You don't
see
know
it.
who wants to do what.
You know what? No, but you know why I
Has there
said
been
that?
reports
Because
of this?
it's different. It's different. It's well, one. Okay, look, we've never. Only when teams are bad, like the Suns, are we gonna get reports of the exact comments of coaches telling players to play a different way, right? Phoenix Suns, Bradley Beal, because they suck. That's when you get leaks where you hear that Coach Bud was actually trying to tell Beal to play a different way. When a team is winning, those reports are never going to come out. But if you watch the team, especially this team that's been this core for a long time, you can. We've been watching this version of the Celtics, maybe not with KP.
Like
Horford's been there for a long time, and we've seen Tatum play one way when they were on their runs, and it was extremely effective for him. And we watched, like I said, the emergence of Jaylen Brown has directly correlated with the regression of Jason Tatum, and it has been a switch in play styles. We can observe that. I don't need to hear a quote from Joe Mazzulla explicitly saying, "Yeah, I told Tatum I want him to be the more." If you want to go there, then I agree. But we've never gone there, Paul. That's all I'm saying. If you want to go,
I said it on this podcast already. I said this on. I said it where
Andre,
I literally told
Andre,
you on this podcast where you're mind reading Jason Tatum and saying he wants to. I said it. I remember saying it. You said this same thing before, Farrell, where you're like the team is telling him to do, and I've said the same thing. We don't know what's going on. You just want to do that because it. The thing is, it makes
because I've seen it before. But that's the only reason. The only reason me and Andre stand on this, we're not pulling from either or some assumptions about how good Tatum is. We've seen it. And that's the thing. I think that's the thing. People think like the gas for Tatum comes from like the vacuum class that Tatum has been put in, and we forget the reason why he was put in that class. We act like the first 4 to 5 years of his career didn't happen, and we didn't see that player. We saw that player. I know how good that player is. I saw it. We saw it. We all watched it.
Yeah,
we all watched it.
We know, but he didn't win a chip. Who's to say that maybe he thought maybe I gotta be more like a LeBron James Harden type player?
That's what That's what we've been saying.
But he's
I'm saying what if we don't know? We don't know if he's the one that said he should play like that or the coach. Y'all want to say he's a coach because you're like, I can't believe that he would be like this, and now he's playing. We don't know.
I mean,
when it comes to winning a chip, players do things.
You know why? You know why? Because
this started with Mazzulla. So.
When play, it's very no. Yes. Well, listen. Also, that's also a fact. We forget that there's a coaching change that also directly correlated with this change. He's been the coach for 2 years. No, was Tatum playing like this under Ime Udoka? No,
he was not.
Was Tatum playing like this under Brad Stevens? No. So again, all the factors you bring up, it all correlates on the same timeline. Joe Mazzulla got into Joe Mazzulla
in 2022.
Joe Mazzulla got in 2 years ago. 2 years ago, we saw the emergence and the regression begin of these two players.
So 2020,
this is not a coincidence.
For this in the finals against the Warriors,
he wasn't playing. He wasn't shooting well, but he wasn't playing like this. Style wise, he was not playing like this.
I remember people saying he's trying to be a playmaker and it wasn't working out.
We could go pull it up.
Okay,
we can go pull it up if you care to go that much. But I think off eye test alone, Andre, would you agree? He was not playing this style under Ime Udoka, not at all. We already know that's not even how Ime Udoka's style works because Ime Udoka's still coaching, and that's not how the Houston Rockets play.
They had a different roster,
fair point. I see that point. Great point. But in terms of principles, we're not going to sit here and act like Joe Mazzulla's system is the same as Ime Udoka's system. They just missed 45 threes. Would that ever happen on an Ime Udoka team? Come on, we have to use the facts that are in front of us. Clearly, there's a difference in how he's being coached.
In fact, Mazzulla
quite obviously, right? Quite obviously.
In fact, Mazzulla defended 45 threes. Mazzulla defended the 45 threes and said, "This is how
he defended that. He stands on that system. He stands on it. So
he's the one empowering Jason Tatum to shoot like this.
So in terms of comments that you wanted, did we hear anything? That's what I mean by like we're not going to get an explicit hot take of I'm telling him to play the way. But the fact that Joe Mazzulla the stands on every time they have games like that, as that's the way we play, what does that tell you? We can deduce here. That tells you that's his system. He stands on that. And he's encouraging and coaching these guys to play this way. Now, again,
as far as the Tatum versus Brown thing, though, I think that started earlier.
Yeah, that's
like the role reversal. I don't think that's I don't think that's just a Mazzulla thing. No, that started.
I'm gonna pull up the shot attempts from the finals. The Warriors Celtics.
Sure.
I also want to pull up that whole run because you can't tell that was one of Tatum's 50-point Game 7 runs. Didn't he have two of them that year, that playoff run?
Is that the year where they went on 3-0 and let the where they went down 0-3 and let the Heat come back to Game 7?
No, that was the year. That was the year after when they didn't get to.
They still had Udoka though, right?
No, that was the first year of Mazzulla.
No, it wasn't.
We gotta check.
This is the second year of Mazzulla. This is only year 2 of Mazzulla.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I'm telling you, this is start. Listen, the 3-point chucking, you could say that's Mazzulla, but specifically because I'm telling you right now, right? The Knicks are literally forcing Tatum to win the game for them.
Right.
No. Wait, Paul, you have that backwards. You have that backwards. The year the Nuggets won the chip, they didn't go up. They didn't go up 3-0 and let Miami come back. They were down 3-0 and brought it back to a Game 7. Yeah. That's a very different thing. They were down 3-0 and forced the Game 7. And in that Game 7, I remember it very clearly. Jason Tatum started the game dumb hot, and if he didn't turn his ankle in the first quarter, I had the Celtics winning that game.
Well, what about the previous 3 games though? The first
Let's go. We can go look at what happened. And you know what happened in that Game 7? Guess who shot the most shots on the team?
Jaylen Brown.
8 of 23.
There's a pattern.
What happened when they were 0 for 3? 0-3. They lost 3. They probably gonna do the same thing against the Knicks. Let's go Knicks, by the way. You just have to get this off because this is fast breaks. So this is a topic.
I know, but I like that we're actually delving in and really looking at it, right? Okay, game one they lost. Jason Tatum 9 of 17, 52% from the field. Jaylen Brown 10 of 21. Okay, that's game 1.
Yeah.
Supports what we're saying. Game 2 when they lost. Pardon me. Jason Tatum, 10 of 20, 50% from the field. Jaylen Brown, 7 of 23. Okay. Do you want me to keep going?
Yes.
Game 3, they lost again.
Yeah, they went down 0-3.
Jaylen Brown, 6 of 17. Jason Tatum, 6 of 18. They both didn't play well. Right?
Game 4, Derek White shaves his head.
Hold on. But Jason Tatum in that game had 10 rebounds.
Now we're gonna. I hate when y'all pull up.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to say it to piss you off. It's okay. Now let's go to the game.
I don't know why you don't care about these things. That's what made LeBron James.
It's important, but don't worry about it. Now, because niggas want to tell me all the time that LeBron James is better than Kobe Bryant because he averaged more rebounds and assists.
Thank you. No, honestly, thanks.
Whatever.
Thanks. It's an aside. Because I'm tired of hearing this.
It's an aside.
He's a better rebounder. Shut the hell up.
Game 4, when they win. Apologies for the slow loading. Game 4 when they win. Jaylen Brown 7 of 16. Jason Tatum 14 of 22. Yep. Whoa, interesting. Game 5 when they win. Jaylen Brown 9 of 18. Jason Tatum 8 of 16. So they figured out how to both score and get off, and they won. They both had 21 points. Derek White and Marcus Smart had good games. Game 6, where they tie it up to bring it to Boston for a Game 7. Jaylen Brown, 9 of 16. Jason Tatum, 8 of 22. Didn't have the greatest game, but he still had 31 points because he went to the free throw line 15 times. What does that tell you that he went to the free throw line 15 times? He ended up with 31 points, even though he didn't shoot well from the field, but he went to the free throw line 15 times. Does that show you a player that's settling for threes or a player that is the downhill aggressive player on the team?
True.
Okay, and then game 7 again. I want to go to quarter 1 before he turned his ankle. Quarter 1 of game 7. Actually, quarter 1, Jaylen Brown was doing it again. Guess how many shots Jaylen Brown shot in quarter 1 of that game 7?
9.
10. In quarter 1 of that game 7, he shot 3 of 10, and Tatum had 1 shot. 1 shot. Quarter 2, Tatum goes 3 of 6, and they tied the game up. Quarter 3, Jaylen Brown goes 1 of 5, Tatum goes 1 of 2. I believe that's when he turned his ankle. And then quarter 4, Jaylen Brown goes 2 of 5, Tatum goes 1 of 4, and they finished the game. Again, like I said, Jaylen Brown 8 of 23, Jason Tatum 5 of 13. So we went back to the year you brought up, and every game supported exactly what we've been saying.
When Jason Tatum takes more shots, they're better off.
Yes.
Well,
Actually, yes.
game 1
Actually,
of
yes.
this year, Tatum took more shots, and they still lost.
But they're the same amount of points.
But
They're
you
the
see
same
the
amount of
difference.
points. They had
Wait, hold on,
23 each.
no, the significant stat was not just the shot attempts; it's free throws. In that series, which was the last time under Udoka, you said, right?
Right.
In that series, Tatum was leading the team in free throw attempts. That changed. Joe Mazzulla came on this team, and that changed.
Is that the case, or is it the case that maybe those teams are not as good as these Knicks are right now? Because I tell you right now, the way we're playing,
but strength of the team doesn't dictate whether you get to the free throw line.
Strength of the team,
that's aggressiveness. That's drives.
Strength of the team dictates the type of shots you could get, how hard it is to get those type of shots.
He had Jimmy Butler on him. We're not doing that. He had Jimmy Butler. Tatum, he had Jimmy Butler on him and Bam Adebayo coming off a defensive player of the year. Come on now.
Were they switching? Were they switching? I don't remember. No, that matters. Did he really have him, or did he just match up because
it does, but can you at least acknowledge that history supports what we're saying?
Sure,
before you try to contextualize it, but history supports what we're saying. Tatum used to be the guy that got to the free throw line for this team. He used to be the aggressive downhill player for this team under Brad Stevens and under Ime Udoka. Joe Mazzulla came, who out of his own mouth stands on this 3-point chucking system, and all of a sudden Tatum becomes a step back 3 guy. And Jaylen Brown, who already was starting to have a problem with being more aggressive than Tatum in games, which reared its ugly head in 23, and it's why they didn't get to the finals. It's a very strong argument can be said of the stats I just read. Jaylen Brown's overshooting could very well be an explanation for why they went down 0-3, based on what I just read. That starts in 23. Joe Mazzulla comes in, puts the 3-point chucking system in, and it further separates the two, turns Tatum into a step-back 3-point jumper, further encourages Jaylen Brown to be a downhill guy, which now Jaylen Brown is
your own context.
I'm only using things that we know for a fact. Do we not know for a fact?
No. Only encourages, only this, only that. No. What if Tatum wanted to play like that?
Do we not know for a fact Joe Mazzulla stands on the 3-point chucking system? We already established this early in the conversation. Don't try to backtrack on it now. We know that for a fact. We do. Me and Andre brought it up. He said it out his own mouth multiple times. He stands on this 3-point chucking system.
How do you get the threes, though?
You tell me.
There's different ways to get threes. You could do it off of somebody just eating and then forcing a double team and then kicking out to open shooters.
Well, let's look at both things. Then that's why I'm putting it all together in context. That's what
I'm saying the nucleus, right, of the offense is so far we've seen in these 2 games, it was at least for a half better under Brown than Tatum, because Tatum is not getting it done. Point blank, he's not getting it done. You can talk about aggressiveness or whatever. He's not a kid anymore, man.
See how you're backtracking. If you want to say, Because if you want to say he's not getting done because he's not playing the way he needs to play for him to be effective, that's very different than you're making it sound like he's just
not doing
not
it for the
good.
team to be effective.
I know, but you're making that sound like the why is because he's not good. And we all know that's not true. I just want you to be more nuanced in your take. If you want to say that he's not getting it done playing this way and he needs to be more assertive in terms of control the team and go back to how he used to play and go back to being the guy that gets to the free throw line more and be the aggressor and say, forget what Joe Mazzulla is talking about with all these threes, then me and Andre are going to agree with you 3,010%. But when you just say summary statements like he's not getting it done, that implies that you're talking about his talent level as a player, and we don't agree with that.
I'm saying he's overrated. I never say he wasn't good. I think he's
Exactly.
overrated, and I'm standing on that. I'm saying he's overrated.
Andre, you've been quiet for a minute.
Right now, against the New York Knicks, if he tried to play that way, it wouldn't work.
No,
we can't say that. We can't say that.
It wouldn't work. We got OG Anunoby. We got the It's not going. Listen, we are a different team. We are the toughest competition they have faced in years.
That's true.
Since the LeBron 2018 Cavs.
Don't do that. You're not better than those Bucks teams. You're not better than those Bucks teams. You're not better than those Bucks teams. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not.
Yes, we are.
Giannis alone makes us better than the Bucks team, man. Giannis alone. Because of his inconsistent mid-range shot, we see, and Giannis lost this year because of his inability to shoot again.
I don't want to get sidetracked. These Bucks teams are nothing like those Bucks teams, bro.
Listen,
Andre,
how do you says about these guys? We can watch the games and we see a lot of these guys are as nice as they say.
We're not talking
physical
about that.
Advantage.
This is what I'm saying. We're like we have this super nuanced conversation, and then you just fall back to these surface level takes.
I disagree with you. Now it's not super. It's facts. It's facts. Why everything is not nuanced? Giannis can't shoot. It hurts the team.
Andre,
name or no name, it hurts the team.
How does the trip through history that we just did land on you in terms of
you play ball the right way
when we're talking about this context of the Celtics trajectory?
Look.
What are your thoughts on that? As a Knicks fan, nothing we're saying is taking anything away from the Knicks. That's why I hate when you do that. We're not talking about the Knicks. We're trying to analyze the Celtics. All credit to the Knicks. The Knicks are a great team. All credit to the Knicks. The Knicks are a great team. But you sidetracking the conversation to just go, oh, how good the Knicks are.
That's a big reason why Tatum is not getting it done. That's a big reason why Tatum's not getting it done. Absolutely.
Just let me know when I'm allowed to speak.
And mentality.
Just let me know when I'm allowed to speak. All right. Signing Karl Anthony Towns tells you what kind of version of the Boston Celtics we were prepared for. And that was a version of the Boston Celtics where Jason Tatum was not going to be aggressive and go on the inside. The strength of OG
Anunoby,
the strength of OG Anunoby is he forces guys to stay at the line because you're not getting past him, most guys anyway.
What did I say about Tatum?
Can you stop?
I'll
let you speak. Completely silent.
Go.
And I agree with you.
Go. You're actually making observation analysis, not just saying headline statements that a guy's not.
He's saying Tatum isn't like that.
Please,
can I just answer?
No, he's not. No, he's not. That's the thing. That's the difference.
Let him talk, Pharaoh. Let him talk, Pharaoh.
The strength of OG Anunoby is most guys are not getting past him, so you have to make the choice of if I'm going to let this thing fly or not. And Jason Tatum has decided he's not even going to try. Now, if Jason Tatum was the Jason Tatum of 3 years ago, I actually think OG Anunoby would have a problem because Jason Tatum is like that. He's a 6'10". That's fine.
6'10", 250.
6'10" powerhouse. That OG Anunoby. I'm not saying he would get to him every time, but I'm just saying he tries a little bit.
He'd be in foul trouble.
To get there. He would
tell you that right now.
Not in these playoffs. Not the way the refs called it.
Huh?
Not in these playoffs. He wouldn't be in foul trouble. The way the refs called it.
The Timberwolves beg to differ.
I'm not going to lie.
The Timberwolves beg to differ.
See, I'm not going to lie. I actually don't like a lot of the ways the refs have been officiating this. I don't because I've seen things that have happened that have been, just for one example, when Derek White basically fouled the living daylights out of Jalen Brunson and almost twisted his ankle on that last shot in the fourth quarter. That was ridiculous. I'm sorry?
Play through it.
It's not about a play through it. Our best player just got back from an ankle injury. If you twisted his ankle,
and Dylan Brooks was targeting Steph Stum. So
I'm not talking about Dylan Brooks.
I'm just saying this is what it is. This year, the ref said we play in basketball, and I like that.
Except the difference is, and this is the problem, and this is why OG gets a lot of credit, honestly. The difference is if the roles were reversed and OG Anunoby jumped in Jason Tatum's space, these refs would have called it immediately.
It's not true because Jason Tatum in the Magic series got injured too, and they didn't do nothing about it.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's why I brought up Dylan Brooks. I can point to every series where wild things are happening to the best players and nothing's been done about it. They straight up tripped Luka 6 times, and Luka got a tech.
That's fair. That's fair. Listen. I
also go to that series, Paul. To your point about guys going to be even with this whistle, the Timberwolves are in foul trouble every game. So and the whistle has been tight. I mean, the whistle has been loose. So you can't say that the calling would not have resulted in foul trouble. Aggressive players in this playoffs, when you have someone that drives every time, like a LeBron, you're gonna be in foul trouble.
Right.
Even LeBron James. You know what the NBA feels about LeBron James. Go ahead.
But
LeBron James averages the least free throws of any superstar ever. This side of Shaq.
You mean this year or in his career?
In his career. That's a known fact. We can look it up. He gets a lot of whistles of other stuff that go in his favor. Like a lot of out of bounds. He'll tell the refs it's this way, it's that way. He gets a lot of texts on guys because he complains. When he does get fouled, he gets a lot of fouls upgraded to flagrants because he complains or he like stays on the floor like he's hurt. A lot of other stuff goes his way. He does not get the amount of free throws that most players that have his number of drives a year. His drives to free throw ratio is horrendous versus a guy like a Shea, even a Luka, guys like who else is a big driver in the league? Ja, yeah, he drives. He averages as many, if not more, drives than a lot of these guys, and is the least. He gets the least free throws of all of them. I just want to put that out there. So we're not going to say that that was a LeBron thing that the Timberwolves were in a bunch of foul trouble. I'm just bringing out that like this year, a team can get in foul trouble when they're playing a guy that drives a lot, even with this whistle. It's just about the number of drives, right? Like if you drive 30 times, maybe in the regular season you would have got 20 free throws, and now you're only getting 12. But that's an important 12. But if you only drive 6 times, 7, 8 times, with this whistle, you're going to get 2 to 4 free throws. Where in the regular season, you would have got 6 to 8.
Cade Cunningham drove a lot.
Can I continue my point?
The
other side
that's the difference. He's a first year player. The whole thing you're saying does actually work for young players, but don't bring up LeBron because it doesn't work for him. You could say Luka got a lot of favorable calls on drives, but not LeBron. Go ahead, finish, Andre. Go ahead, because I agree with everything you just said. So their point about Cat was the best point that's been said all day.
And to exemplify this point, at the last play of the game, to make it happen, Mikal left. It was a split second, but he left Jaylen Brown because he decided right then and there a Jason Tatum 2 is far more important than a Jaylen Brown 3.
Incorrect.
That's 100% correct.
Incorrect.
That's literally what happened.
Because what happened the play before when he stayed home? Wait, hold on. Wait. What happened the play before when he stayed home? What happened the play before when he stayed home? Did Tatum not get a dunk?
Incorrect.
Literally got a dunk.
Tatum not get a dunk?
Incorrect.
So he didn't. He didn't get a dunk. He didn't get a dunk. He didn't get a dunk.
He left because of the time and the score. It wasn't just because it wasn't because of Jaylen Brown.
Did he not
as soon as he deflected the ball, the clock ran out. Everybody knew Tatum was going to take a fadeaway at that point. He only passed.
He was not taking a fadeaway. He was trying to pass out.
He took a fadeaway that tried to pass out.
He went in. Mikal jumped around. He saw Jalen Brunson. He said, "Let me pass."
He jumped to a fadeaway and then saw the contest in front of him by OG and then got scared.
I don't think that's how that happened. I'm not
going to lie. That's exactly what happened.
That's ridiculous. And this is what I'm saying. When we could watch the same events and
he had no time to pass the ball. That was a bad decision anyway. It could have been Curry over there. He should have passed it. We didn't have time for that. Come on, man.
And what happened in game one where they tried to pass to Jaylen Brown for a 3-pointer to win the game? What happened then? On a one-on-one. In a
We are
one-on-one.
talking about
Hold
a
on. No.
specific play.
Answer my question. What happened when the ball went to Jaylen Brown in game one behind the 3-point line to win the game, and it was a one-on-one? What happened?
It was barely
What?
one. The man got the ball at
happened? What happened, Paul?
Mikhail Rickton.
Okay. So if I'm Tatum coming down, I'm going to do that again? I'm going to give you the ball?
He tried to pass it anyway. So what you're saying is null and void.
But you're skipping the part that Andre's talking about the help and rotation. The play before, Mikal stayed home. Tatum got a dunk going downhill. Mazzulla, again, because you want comments, Mazzulla in his post-game conference said out of his own mouth, we tried to run the same exact action again because Tatum got a dunk on it. What happened is Mikal made the right decision.
No. And if you stay trying to be let's talk about the X's and O's. Let's do analytical. Let's be analytical. Be analytical. Mitchell Robinson played it differently. Horford set the screen later. Wait.
I'm listening to you. I'm pulling up the play. I want to.
Mazzulla himself said,
and I'm going to send you the link so we can watch both these plays in real time and really do a breakdown.
Mazzulla himself said that the screen wasn't as effective because he didn't. Horford didn't set the screen as high. Right. Not only that, Mitchell Robinson didn't allow Tatum to go and get that dunk this time. Right. He stood his ground and forced him left. So now Tatum is going left. Time is running out. He's dribbling away from the basket. He takes a fadeaway. He gets scared. Tries to pass to somebody else. Mikal knows that at the very least, if I go to Tatum, Brown is not even going to have enough time to shoot the ball. So if he didn't shoot the ball, he's going to pass to me. I'm going to deflect the ball.
That's
a smart play by Mikal, but Mikal came and helped. He wasn't the catalyst for that. It was Mitchell Robinson.
All right, ready? Horford, first time. Coming at Horford, sets the screen right I'm gonna tell you because you don't have the clip in front of you, do you?
Let me go mute.
Everybody look it up right now.
I didn't think so. So Horford, his feet on the screen are right at the walking stick of Lucky, right? Tatum comes off. Mitchell Robinson picks it up at the R&D of TD Garden, well above the 3-point line. If I look at the rest of the floor, what's his name? Number 2, McBride. He's watching, his eyes and his body are turned to watch Derek White. Josh Hart, he's hugging Drew Holiday. OG's getting a screen. Comes off, Tatum, little crossover. Now he's at the 3-point line. Mikal Bridges is boxes and elbows. Right where the PS5 sign is. Same thing with Josh Hart. McBride is not involved. Blow by. Tatum picks up his dribble before the first dotted line. There is still not a nick in the paint. They are still both hugging the boxes, and Tatum goes and dunks with no one in front of him. Right? No one comes off their corner guy.
Time and score is important in that play too.
I understand. I understand. But mind you, it's still a last possession because even though they went early, there was no shot clock. So you're still talking about potentially a game-ending situation. But they let him score to give themselves.
Not really.
Hold on. They let him score to give themselves the last shot because they understand that his 2 is only going to put them up by 1. I understand where you're going with that, and I acknowledged it. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead. We all know what Jalen Brunson does. He gets fouled going downhill because that's what the best player on a playoff team does in a late game scenario. They get to go downhill. Okay, coming again. Tatum gets to half court. OG sinks. So forget what you're talking about, Mitchell Robinson. OG sinks. Okay, OG sinks and doesn't pick up the ball. That means Al Horford now sets it at the front of the logo. Mitchell Robinson hugs the screen. They're basically both hugging Horford. Jalen Brunson, body is turned towards Tatum, not looking at Drew Holiday. Josh Hart, he's following and bumping Derek White as he goes through. Mikal Bridges has already turned his body and is beginning to leave Jaylen Brown before Jason Tatum even crosses half court. Jaylen Brown is on his way to the corner. Mikal Bridges has already turned his body to begin entering a back pedal. Fast forward a little bit more. They meet him. Jason Tatum, if he wanted to, could have pulled this three. He decides, no, I want to try to get downhill because that's what I'm supposed to do. Josh Hart, wait, let me finish. Let me finish. Josh Hart has now concluded his bump of Derek White. His body is now fully turned towards Tatum. Jalen Brunson, he squared up with Drew Holiday because he's strong side a little bit, but his eyes are still on Tatum. So you got 4 eyes and 3 bodies angled towards Tatum, completely leaving everyone else. Tatum hezzies. He thinks about it. He decides, okay, Mitchell Robinson foot speed can't stick with me. I'm going to blow by then. Derek White makes an unbelievably stupid decision to cut through the lane at this point, completely messing up the play because he probably thinks Tatum is going to shoot a 3. So he's getting ready to box out. Right? Drew Holiday and Jaylen Brown do what they're supposed to do. They go to the corners like they did last time. Derek White is the one that blows up this play. There is no reason why Derek White is cutting through the paint at this point. He should be exactly where he was the last time at TD Garden, making Josh Hart decide whether he's going to step in or stay home. He cuts because he thinks Jason Tatum is going to shoot a 3 because that's how they play. Press play. He goes through Hezzies. Tatum tries to go by Robinson. As he takes his step, he sees OG leaving Horford to come double. Josh Hart, huge difference, is in the middle of the circle now. He's in the middle of the circle. Mikal Bridges' eyes is locked onto him. So when he sees that, he tries to cross over again because he knows he's going to go into a hole of 4 defenders if he goes right.
Time and score.
He crosses over left, tries to blow by left, sees that OG's right there. He could take a step back, but he's like, listen, maybe I should try to get to the basket. So he gathers his dribble, tries to turn the corner again to think maybe OG doesn't have enough time. Maybe Horford should do a Gortat screen on OG if he's going to stand in the paint, even though the play is for him to get to the rim. Let's go back to Horford roll. When Horford set that screen, what is Horford doing? He does that, and he keep pushes, and he goes straight down the middle. So now you got 2 players in the paint.
So there's nowhere for him to go.
It's supposed to be a play for Jason Tatum to get to the rim. There's 2 players in the paint.
Ain't no getting to the rim on Mr. Robinson now.
It's easy to say that when you have 3 players in the paint. He has help behind him. When there was no one in the paint, Jason Tatum blew by him in 1 dribble. So he goes right, 3 defenders because Derek White is there. He crosses over left, 3 defenders because Al Horford is there, and Al Horford is not setting a Gortat screen. So he gets it. He tries to get to the block. He makes contact with OG. He takes a step back thinking maybe I could get a shot off, but Mikal has already left, and Mitch Robinson is following. He goes up, 3 defenders, 2 right on him. And yes, with 3 seconds left, that's not enough time. If he gets if he gets that pass off, Jaylen Brown has at least 2.5 seconds.
You said that's not enough time. That's
3.2 seconds is plenty of
time for him to make a shot.
And then once again, you can say based on the play design, Jason Tatum did what he needed to do. He got downhill and drew 4. But guess what? Because Jaylen Brown is not a spot-up shooter, Mikal can come off and double it, and it's a turnover.
Correct. Here's the thing. If Derek White was where Jaylen Brown was, the play doesn't work.
Still leaving him.
No, you're leaving Derek White?
No, you're not.
Are you
left
no, you're not.
Because he knew that he was going to be forced at that point in time.
I don't think so.
Listen, let's be real. These are human beings, Farrell, right? That we're talking about. The way you broke it down was like, I'm not saying it's incorrect, but it's not realistic because you want them. You want them to make decisions that are like less than a split second. But they're
professional basketball players. This is what they do for a living. Stop.
Right. Stop. No, but they're human beings, man. When there's 2.5 seconds and you got the ball in your hands, right? You don't want to even stop your dribble.
But Paul, you just lied. You just lied. It was never 2.5 seconds. I just told you when the ball was leaving Jason Tatum's hands for a pass, there was 3.2 seconds left. So already you're gassing it to try to make it more dire of a situation. It was not. What it was is the Knicks played good reads. 2 Celtics messed up the play. Derek White blew up the play by cutting, which we could surmise he did because he's assuming Jason Tatum's going to shoot a 3, even though the exact play they ran before was for him to get a dunk. Derek White was the first mistake that blew up this play. He cut and brought Josh Hart into the middle of the lane. That's mistake one. Second mistake, Al Horford. He tried to get the screen because it didn't work as well. He kept trying to set the screen, and he backed down all the way to the foul line and then went straight down the middle of the paint instead of clearing out, which allowed OG and Mitch to both be right there, and no one had to pick one of them to guard. So like I said, he went right. Derek White messed it up. He tried to cross back left. Al Horford messed it up. So he gets an extra dribble, and he tries to turn around. Horford should have set a Gortat screen to allow him to curl around OG. He didn't do that. He just stood there. One of the things I hate most about
you talking about a Gortat screen. Like, you listen. At this point,
games like that before. I've seen Jason Tatum get a game-winning layup off Al Horford setting a Gortat screen. You're acting like I'm saying crazy things. We're talking about professional basketball.
No. Was that the play, or was that an adjustment that they made at that point? That's what I'm trying to tell you. You want them to adjust. That's too extreme of an adjustment to make with that amount of time.
I'm not talking about adjustments. I'm talking about people blew up the play. I'm naming two players that made a mistake on the play before Jason Tatum even had an opportunity.
When you are the guy on the team and a play is blown up, you're not thinking, oh, let me call for another screen. Let me try and get a goal. You're thinking, let me get my open look. That's what Tatum tried to do.
And he tried to get down. And he didn't spaz out. He tried to get down.
That was a bad pass. Mikal knew if the position, Mikal was in the passing lane. It wasn't that. It was because it was Jaylen Brown. But he was in the he knew if he was gonna pass this ball, he would have to throw the ball high. He would have to try and do a crazy ball. It was going to be ugly if he tried to pass the ball.
What we're saying is he wouldn't have even had to. There's three things that happened that would have, if they went right, that had nothing to do with him.
Your original point was about Jaylen Brown.
Stop cutting me off, bro. Listen, I broke down the whole play. I pointed out three mistakes that three other players made. Okay. What me and Andre are saying is if those three players didn't make those mistakes, he wouldn't have even had to pass that ball. He would have got downhill like it was the intention. So I said let's break it down. If the play before, our point is majorly is that Jason Tatum as the downhill player would have been effective. It worked the play before because certain things happened. You're saying, but it didn't work that play. I'm pointing out there are several things outside of Tatum that went wrong that prevented him from getting downhill that had nothing to do with the Knicks. Two Celtics players messed up that play, and it allowed the Knicks to.
Should he have shot the ball?
He could. I mean, it was a lose-lose situation. Take a fadeaway over two guys, or try to hit your non-shooter best player partner. Either or. It's an either or lose-lose. But you're not analyzing the whole play.
This is what I'm trying to say. Like,
so wait. So we don't
just about analysis and X's and O's, Pharaoh.
So we don't. Yes, it is. We're talking about professional basketball. So we don't hold Derek White accountable.
Everything is not about that. The whole reason why the Knicks are so great is because of their intangibles. Tatum didn't want to shoot the ball because he got bothered by Mitchell Robinson. And I get it. Yes, the way the play was set up, Mitchell Robinson and OG were able to play that type of defense because you said the other two guys messed up the play.
They blew up the whole play.
You still got to shoot that ball. Don't look for nobody else to pass you. That's on LeBron James, right?
But that's so reductive. That's so reductive of what happened, bro. And also our point, we brought the play.
He's letting him down anyway.
You forgot we brought the play, but we didn't bring up the play to discuss whether Tatum was soft for not shooting or not. We brought the play because we were talking about Tatum's success getting downhill. And you said it wouldn't have been successful. And we pointed out the play before that play, it was successful. And then you said, but it wasn't the next time. And I'm saying the reason why wasn't because of the Knicks.
Your original point was
no, that's not our original point.
You said he left Jaylen Brown because you took that risk. You said that. You did say that. Comment. Tell me if I'm wrong.
I think there's a distinction, or maybe there's a distinction where we agree, because I actually do think it's because of the Knicks reading the defense correctly or reading the offense.
Of course, but it wasn't that they made an adjustment that prevented Tatum from getting downhill. The Celtics team blew up the play.
Right. And
Derek White's cut. Minute Derek White cut through the middle of the paint, that play was over. It was never going to work.
That's why I'm saying.
It was never going to work.
Did the Celtics have a timeout? That's an important question.
Yes, they had a timeout.
Then Joe Mazzulla made a mistake. This is Joe Mazzulla's fault.
Because you call a timeout there and you remount Derek White. What are you doing?
Right. What and then you get everybody in the right positions.
What the
I
hell
don't know
are you
that
doing?
that happens again.
Why would you cut through the middle of the paint on a play where Tatum just got to dunk straight down the lane?
And we got 30 seconds.
But you know what I'm expanding it to? I know why Derek White cut. Because he's believing, because the way the team is structured and the way they play, he believes Tatum is coming down to shoot a three.
Right.
Regardless of what the play we just ran was. We just ran this play, and Tatum got a dunk. And Derek White's mind, oh, he's shooting a three. And he cuts to box out.
Yep.
That's also why Horford keeps the screen going, because he thinks Tatum's going to duck behind this screen. I just got to hold OG off.
And
if I hold OG off
here.
Exactly. And that's why we're saying the whole structure and the play style, it doesn't make sense. Tatum just had success playing the way he used to play. Downhill, got a dunk. He comes down, the same exact play is called, but two of his teammates are stuck in the Joe Mazzulla 3-Chuck mentality. Let me go cut to box out. Let me set this screen for as long as possible, because he's probably going to shoot this three. That's what we're saying. It's not just Tatum. The whole way they play is wrong. Because the fact that they are
I agree with that, Stu.
Yeah. And let me throw in another wrinkle in there. Let me throw in another wrinkle in there. And this is where Celtics really need to assess themselves. They won a championship playing the way they did. That's fair. They won that championship with the third best player on the Bucks being injured, like
Correct.
5 of the Knicks being injured.
Correct.
And the Pacers just not being ready. It
Correct.
was not necessarily the success of Joe Mazzulla's plan. It was the luck of the competition. So
I'm agreeing with that. To Paul's point earlier, I'm agree. We're seeing now that the way they play is flawed. It's severely flawed, and the microcosm of it is the way Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum play. And Jaylen Brown gets to escape because the way the offense, his role in it, serves him to be productive, but honestly, it's not effective because he's not efficient, and it doesn't set other players up to be successful.
I just watched the play again, and I think you're not giving the Knicks enough credit here, right? Now, number one,
a lot of credit. I literally just stopped to go
I know
back.
You're not trying to, but that's what you're doing. You know why I say that? You know why I say that? All right, you don't want to hear it. Let's go. Go ahead.
Oh, no. What are you going to say? Because I guarantee it's what I just said.
No, I'm not talking about you, Audrey. I'm talking about Farrell. Farrell's not giving the Knicks enough credit. Listen, I just watched.
Even though me and him are saying the exact same thing, but okay.
First of all, right? Derek White went to the same spot that he was at the last time.
No, that you're lying. You're lying.
Jrue Holiday wasn't at the spot that he was at last time.
Explain.
Jrue Holiday.
So Derek White didn't cut. Derek White didn't cut.
What happened?
Derek White never stopped moving. So you saying
Derek White went to the spot that he was at the first time they ran that play. Simply put, that's a fact. Jrue Holiday wasn't.
No. Yeah, I can't jack that
Derek
because
White was on the right side of the court. Jrue Holiday was on the left side of the court. Jrue Holiday the second time was on the right side. Derek White went to that spot. That's the first thing. The second thing, right?
You're the one
the second thing.
No, I can't let you get that off because that's bull. That's BS. You're the one that was saying time to score the whole time, right? If there's 12 seconds left, if us two switch positions, but there's 12 seconds left, does it make sense for me to cut through the middle for us to switch to get to the right spots with 12 seconds left? Or should I hold? Should I hold my spot and let me be this side and Drew be that side?
That's fair, but at the same time,
no, it's not just fair. It explains the whole play. That mental mistake.
That's not why
the whole play.
That's not why it got blown up. It got blown up because this man Al Horford set the screen late. He set the screen lower on the court. Number one. Number two.
But wait, that's because OG didn't pick a ball. Wait, no. But we gotta engage with these points one by one. Okay, I like what you're doing because I did it one by one. I acknowledge the reason Al Horford set it lower is because OG didn't pick up ball, which was a smart adjustment by the Knicks. I said that when I was going through. The Knicks made a smart adjustment, and they said, don't pick up the ball in the backcourt. That way Horford can't screen you early. OG sat behind the screen and let Tatum bring the ball up.
Yes.
And that led to Horford, who I said also made the other mistake. He kept trying to set the screen lower and lower, even though OG was ducking behind it. And then
what rather him do?
Get out of there.
Let it be a one-on-one ISO for Tatum, who hasn't done well in the ISO system.
Hold on, because at a certain point when OG ducks, I'm gonna tell it to you right now. Look, I'm gonna go to the exact moment.
He tried
Hold on.
his best to
I'm
get this.
I'm pointing it to you right now. I'm gonna give you the timestamp if you haven't pulled up.
He
It's
tried to get
coming down.
the
Hold
switch
on,
on.
it's coming down. He got it, but he didn't let it go. Okay, 10.4. He's got both of them body contact. His hands are on OG, right? Well above the 3-point line. This might have been a little early to do it, but if I'm coach, I'm telling Horford, you have your hands on OG right now. You take OG and push him out. Robinson is already preparing to step up on it at 10.4 when Tatum's about to step on the logo. Halford is setting the screen for Tatum to go right. He's got two hands on OG, and Mitchell Robinson has his arm around his back and is getting ready to step up.
Yeah.
Instead of holding the screen, you take OG and you push him out. Because worst case, if OG swims you, Mitchell Robinson, once OG start getting pushed, is going to step up. That's a double. Tatum has a pass right through to you in the middle of the paint.
They're not doubling Tatum.
Right, which means if you push OG out,
they will not double Tatum.
Right, which means if you push OG out, Tatum gets a one-on-one with Robinson. And
it won't work out.
Hold on, he could have did that then. He could have did that at 9.1. At 9.1, OG is literally hiding behind Horford.
What you're not. This is why I say you're not giving credit to the Knicks, though, right? At 6.4, it is an ISO with Mitchell Robinson.
No, it's not. Because
it's literally,
watch at 6.7. Look at Horford's body. He's got Robinson. You're right. He's got Robinson on him. You know why it's not an ISO? I'm gonna tell you why it's not an ISO. An ISO means something. An ISO doesn't just mean you're being guarded by one person. An ISO means that you get an area of the floor isolated to yourself. That didn't happen at any point in this possession. Even though Rich Robinson is the only one guarding Tatum in terms of on the ball. Again, Horford, I'm looking at 6.7. Horford, he still has contact with OG. There's a wide open wing, right? At the top of the screen, right? Horford, you push OG that way. You push OG that way. That would contribute to isolation. The other reason why it's not isolation, look where Josh Hart is. 2 feet in the middle of the paint. Why? Because Derek White is inexplicably in the dunker. What are you doing in the dunker?
So, wait, are you saying that Tatum did not have enough room to work? Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Yes.
I disagree with that.
I disagree.
I'm not talking about mixing. I'm talking about somewhere to go. Either direction, there is a defender. Either direction, there is a defender there. That's the definition of
Tatum
not being
don't want a mid range. Tatum don't want to put up in the mid range.
That's correct.
He drives. Mitchell Robinson is right there playing good D. I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, that's not an excuse for Tatum to not be more productive in this. Now that I'm watching it, Tatum should have even more responsibility and more blame. Tatum doesn't want to put up in the mid range. Tatum doesn't want to look. He's driving. He looks aimless. He has room to work. He messed up his dribble. Hold on. He messed up his dribble, which allowed Mitchell Robinson to even recover more. And then now he's pushing into the left.
Okay, Paul, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? Wait, can I ask you a question?
Hold on. Now what you're saying about Al Horford diving. Wait, no, real quick. Now what you're saying about Al Horford rolling to the paint, now OG could help more. So you're right about that. And now, because there's 3.8 seconds left, Mikhail says, all right, I'm going to get...
Don't ignore that the play was for him to go right. Look at how he couldn't go right on the initial drive. Look at the help. Look at where the players are and why he couldn't go right. Because him not being able to go right is what caused him to have to cross left, which led to him losing his dribble. And then when he goes left, what you just acknowledged, because of Horford, OG was there. But don't skip the first part. Don't skip the first part. He was supposed to go right. Acknowledge why he couldn't.
Forced him left.
No, he didn't.
Listen, now you're arguing with everybody in New York City because I'm not the only one that said that. I'm not. I heard the MSG post game talk about that. I heard other platforms on YouTube talk about. I'm looking at the play right now. He tried to go right, and Mitchell Robinson said, "Nah, you're not going there."
Josh Hart being in the middle of the paint is the reason why Jason Tatum couldn't go right.
Mitchell Robinson cut off that side.
Josh Hart being in the middle of the paint. When all right, maybe you don't know this, but when you're a scorer, you know what they tell you to look at?
Don't do that. Don't do that. Come on.
Now, let him talk.
When you're a scorer and a hooper at a high level, when you are looking to attack, what do you look at? Do you look at what your defender is doing?
No, you look at what the help defender.
You look at what the help is doing. So yeah, Mitchell Robinson gets to take credit because in reality, he was there. He was there. Stop. I'm not saying he played bad defense. I'm just being real.
I know you're not.
He played good defense, and he gets to get the kudos for the fact that Tatum went left. But I think you're taking credit away from Josh Hart because Josh Hart could have hugged Derek White at the dunker, which would have been stupid. And then there could have been a blow by, and they would have been like, "Why the hell was Josh Hart hugging Derek White in the dunker?" Give credit to Josh Hart. Josh Hart read the play blow up and made the amazing decision to stand his 2 feet right in front of the basket. Tatum, as a scorer, he's not looking at Mitch Robinson. He's looking at help. When he sees Josh Hart standing in the middle of the basket, that's why he decided to go right.
Derek White is in the dunker instead of the corner because Drew Holiday moved down when he should have stayed at the wing. Number one.
Don't bail Derek White.
Derek White was going directly to the corner.
And that was wrong. And that was wrong. That was wrong. That was wrong. It was wrong.
I hear you on that. You could say it's wrong, but
it was.
But hold on. Mitchell Robinson, if he did not force him left because he tried to go right and Mitchell's there, if he didn't allow him to do that, what would have happened was he would have either gotten an open mid-range or he would have drove Josh Hart would have had to play. Wait. Josh Hart would have had to help. Derek White would have been open.
In the dunker?
He would have faded to the corner at that point. He would have been open. Josh Hart would have had to roll over.
I actually agree with Paul on that point. He would have.
All he's doing is pointing out another way that the Celtics messed up the play because
Mitchell Robinson is the key.
What?
Mitchell Robinson did not force him to go where he wanted to go.
Paul, stop doing that. No one's saying you're not nice. You keep trying to twist it to give yourself more credit. We can acknowledge the Celtics messed up. That doesn't take anything away from the Knicks. We can acknowledge the Celtics messed up. It's so ridiculous. In your scenario, you put blame on Drew Holiday for not sliding up. But I would challenge that.
It matter more than Mitchell Robinson forcing him left, though. That's what I'm saying. Go ahead. I'm on mute.
You don't got to mute yourself.
Even in your scenario, here's the thing. Even in your scenario, you're pointing out a Celtic making a mistake, but I would even challenge that scenario because based on the way Tatum's coming down, Drew Holiday knows the play. Drew Holiday knows that Tatum's trying to get right. Drew Holiday should stay corner. If you're on the right side and the player is trying to get right, you never slide up. If you slide up, you're bringing your man right into the gap. So Drew Holiday was respecting the fact that Tatum was going right. So I, again, am putting it at the feet of Derek White. Derek White, even if you are on the wrong sides of the court to start the play, with 12 seconds left, you got to know Tatum is going right. If Tatum is going right, there's no world where I cut through the middle of the paint, especially if it's for your reason, just to get to the other side, to switch sides, because me and Drew Holiday on the wrong side, we both shoot. It don't matter who's on what side. If Tatum is going right, if the play is for Tatum to go right, you never cut across the middle. Drew Holiday knew that. Drew Holiday probably also realized they were on the wrong side, but he said, I'm reading the play. Tatum's going right. I'm sticking my ass in this corner. Derek White is cut through the middle of the plate. When they watch film today and yesterday, I'm telling you, Derek White's cut is the fatal blow of that play. It is. No. It is. Everything the Knicks did after hold on. Everything the Knicks did after that was perfect defense. Let me say that so that I can stop you from trying to turn this into I'm not giving the Knicks credit. Everything the Knicks did after that was completely right. They played it perfectly. It was great defense. But the play was blown up by Derek White's cut.
Not Mr. Robinson.
No, because Derek White started cutting before Tatum even crossed half court.
Mitchell Robinson can't even see behind him. He can't see behind him. He don't got eyes on the back of his head. Mitchell Robinson is like, yo, I'm not letting you go right.
What does that have to do with anything?
That has everything because Mitchell Robinson didn't even let him go right. So everything you're saying about the play being blown up, it doesn't matter because Mitchell Robinson didn't even allow him to go there in the first place anyway.
Well, to Pharaoh's point, if he did allow him to go there, Derek White would still be in the way.
I agree.
No. Hold on. Watch this. Remember how I said Derek White started cutting before the play?
Right.
I want to see at what point Jason Tatum actually took an aggressive dribble to try to blow by Mitchell Robinson.
He couldn't.
Wait. Look. He's now about to exit the logo. At that point that he's about to exit the logo, if he's looking, Derek White is at the free throw line already. He's already cutting through. If Derek White is stopped at the 3-point line, I'm jacking that at 9.5, Tatum would have took his aggressive dribble. Derek White is halfway through his cut, so Jason Tatum waits. 9.2 waits. He does the behind the dribble. He does this behind the dribble size up. Why is he doing that? To give Derek White time to clear it. If Derek White never cuts
at 9.5, you would have taken his aggressive dribble.
100%.
Are you
Look at the play
kidding
before.
me?
Look at the play before. The play before where he got it. Look at where he takes his aggressive dribble.
Look at where the screen is.
Wait, I understand that, but look. I understand the screen is higher. But you know what's funny? At 20.5, listen. At 20.5 and at 9.5, Jason Tatum has the ball at the exact same place on the court. So regardless of where the screen is set, at 20.5 in the play before and at 9.5, Tatum has the ball at the same exact point on the court. I understand that, but still, the fact that Derek White is behind Tatum and there's no one in the paint at that same spot. If you believe that, then we just look.
First of all, I didn't even talk about the fact.
I'm gonna stop.
Andre, listen to this.
If you believe it's irrelevant,
you don't want to talk about the fact that Karl Anthony Towns was guarding the last play. He never brought it up.
What?
Karl Anthony Towns was guarding the first pick and roll where he drove to the basket.
No, he wasn't. This is Mitchell Robinson. What the fuck are you talking about? See how you just lie? You see how you just lie? That's why I can't take anything you saying right now serious, because you just don't make up shit now.
Hold on. What am I watching right now?
Exactly, bro. So stop it, bro. He's not even looking at the right play. He's not even looking at the right play, bro.
That's my fault.
That was crazy. That was crazy.
That was Dre. Tell him, as a fellow Knicks fan, get him together, because that's crazy.
What's going on?
He just tried to invent a new play.
That's my fault. That's my fault.
I think we're beating this.
Okay, I agree. My final point is at 20.5 and at 9.5 in the two possessions, Tatum has the ball at the same exact spot on the floor.
It doesn't matter. Different momentum towards the basket.
Listen, at this point, I'm not arguing with you anymore. I'm getting this takeout for our audience who wants to hear good basketball take. I'm done trying to convince you. This is just so the audience can hear it. Actual good breakdown. At 20.5 and at 9.5, Tatum has the ball at the same exact spot on the floor.
You want to keep.
I'm gonna let you go because I'm not trying to argue with you. So stop cutting me off. At 20.5 and at 9.5, Tatum has the ball at the same spot on the court. There's a person in both corners at 20.5. The difference between the 20.5 and 9.5, Derek White. And you know what? Now I'm even coming at you more because you're wrong. Derek White and Drew Holiday weren't in the wrong spots because Derek White was coming down the same side of the court in this play. It was Brown and Drew Holiday who switched. So your whole argument that White was cutting because he was in the wrong spot and Drew Holiday was in the wrong spot is categorically false. In this play at 20.5, Derek White is on the left side. But what does he do? He gets to the three-point line and he stops. Drew Holiday and Jaylen Brown switch, which makes sense because if Jaylen Tatum is going right, you want to have the shooter strong side. So that actually probably was an intentional switch. They said, you know what? Put Jaylen Brown on the weak side. Let's have Drew Holiday strong side as a shooter.
You said intentional switch? Who said that? You? Okay.
Let me land because I'm done arguing. Let me land because I'm done arguing with you. I'm just bringing up that one of your points that you made. You're not revealing to me another thing with how I feel it was wrong, but I'm not going back and forth with you. Drew Holiday and Jaylen Brown switched. If you know basketball, I am gonna say that was intentional switch because again, the play is for Tatum to go right. If he has him going right, you want a shooter strong side. So the fact that they had Jaylen Brown go left side corner on weak side and put Drew Holiday on strong side right corner actually makes perfect sense. Derek White's role never changed. Derek White in the prior play was coming down the left wing and stopped at the three. That is the same exact thing that happened in the next play. For some reason on that next one, he decided to not stop at the three and cut through. And that resulted in Tatum, when he had the ball at the same exact spot, when it was 20.5, Derek White was trailing the play, and he decided at that spot to make his aggressive move going right, and he blew by him. At 9.5, by 9.5, Derek White was already at the foul line when Tatum had the ball at the same exact spot on the floor. When he was just about to exit the logo at 9.5, instead of trailing the play like before, Derek White has inexplicably found himself at the foul line. At that moment, instead of taking an aggressive dribble right, what does Tatum do? He crosses left for a size up to try to give time for Derek White to get the hell out of there, and then he tries to go right, and to your point, Mitchell Robinson makes a great slide, and then I've broken down the rest of the play.
Oh, I hope you
I'm not arguing with you anymore. The
on
audience, they can hear that analysis that I just broke down and take it for what it is. Paul, if you want to get your stuff off one more time and give the Knicks credit just because you want to do that, and that's all you want to do in this podcast instead of actually breaking down basketball, be my guest. But I'd like Andre to go first.
I really don't know what else I have to say to this because I feel like I've made my point pretty clear. But just so I get off one more time and so people hear me, all right? Derek White messed up that play. It happened because Jaylen Brown is not a reliable shooter in the clutch. And Jason Tatum didn't know where to go because Mitchell Robinson was playing it right. And the hero of the moment, which we have, for whatever reason, not spent a good amount of time on, is Mikal Bridges correctly reading the play. That is incredible, the way that he was able to clamp down on him because he decided a Jason Tatum 2 is better than a 3, and I got a better shot of stopping this play if I clamp down and make it incredibly hard for him to get this shot. But I can do that because I don't really care if Jaylen Brown gets an open 3 because he's not going to go in to take a 2, and if he takes a 3, I got a 70-30 shot that this is going to miss. That's my take.
Do we want to talk about other series, or do you want to get more Knicks takes off?
Hold on.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You know,
that's what this podcast is at this point during this playoffs. Go ahead.
You know because this is one of the greatest runs in Knicks history.
Go ahead. This is turned into a Knicks podcast, not a basketball analyst podcast. So go ahead, Paul.
I'm still an analyst. What you mean? Let me just point out to myself, I have been given take after take after take, and I'm not getting any credit for it, but that's whatever.
I am giving you credit for it.
Thanks, bro.
But we're stopping again at 140 because Paul wants to say more about how well the Knicks did instead of moving on to another series. So, what does that tell you?
I don't know if there's another series really to even talk about like that right now.
And that's what I'm saying. This has become a Knicks podcast. There's 3 other series going on, and y'all don't even want to talk about it.
No. I'll talk about it. I'll talk because here's the thing. With the Warriors and the Timberwolves.
Wait.
Oh. So you're just gonna interrupt me? Am I a child now? Is that what's happening?
Pharaoh gave me another. He said, "Get your last word out," and I haven't done it yet.
Okay. Well, while you're collecting yourself, I'm gonna say what
I'm not collecting myself.
But I was literally in the middle of.
Let him go because I want to talk about other series. I want to analyze more basketball. I'm tired of talking about the Knicks. I came here ready to give the Knicks credit. I just want to analyze basketball. So let him finish.
I want to eat lunch before the Knicks game, man. Come on.
Let him finish.
Please, man.
Let him finish. Let him finish.
Nothing on this podcast. We like to act like we're smarter than everybody else sometimes, and that's the problem. At the end of the day, Mitchell Robinson. Well, I showed it on the screen while Pharaoh was talking. Jason Tatum took a dribble to go right. Mitchell Robinson was there. It don't matter what Derek White did. He was there. He went left. I'm glad you said what you said, Andre, just now about Jaylen Brown, because that's how this started, and Pharaoh tried to get away from it. Mikal Bridges did not leave Jaylen Brown just because it was Jaylen Brown. He left because he knew that if he even tried to pass it, it could have been Curry over there. It would have been a difficult pass. Get in the passing lane. Jump, get in the passing lane. Mikal wasn't even trying to defend the shot. He got in the passing lane. That's what he did. It was all Knicks defense. If you want to say anybody messed it up, Al Horford did. I agree with you and Pharaoh on that. Derek White and all of that, you're talking about hypothetical situations because Mitchell Robinson did not let him go where he wanted to go. That's what we do. We lock up, we play defense, and they're not used to that. I want to know how far Pharaoh thinks the Knicks are going to go. That's what I
don't care.
Exactly.
I don't care.
He's from New York, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about the Warriors.
This is all you want to do. You don't want to talk about
let's talk about the Warriors.
There's nothing to talk about.
Bro. Let's talk about the Warriors.
And do that, bro. Don't do this on.
Let's talk about the Warriors.
If you don't be on this podcast,
he don't care because he doesn't want the Knicks to go to the finals because they were hurting.
Go be a Knicks fan on a Knicks podcast, bro. We're talking basketball here. Go to
Yeah,
Knicks
the Knicks are the
TV.
kings of the NBA, and they will be at the end of the day. Let's go. Let's talk about the Warriors.
There's nothing to talk about.
I agree, Nomad. I agree.
I don't
Mad
see the
yapping just because I'm sitting here with two Knicks fans and we spent an hour 40 on Knicks and no one wants to actually talk basketball. Niggas
This
just
is
wanna talk
crazy.
about how
I'm not
Knicks-
handling this disrespect.
I'm
This is
not
not
gonna
what's
allow you to
happening.
not give us the proper credit.
This is not what's happening.
Talk about some Derek
I'm
White.
not saying it's your fault. I'm just saying me and you are powerless. We are being held hostage.
This is crazy.
Like Mitchell Robinson held Jason Tatum hostage. Let's go.
There's nothing to talk about with the Warriors. That's what my point is. Until Steph Curry is healthy.
That's ridiculous. All right, then I'm done, bro. That was a good pod. Y'all
No,
played
no,
on
no,
it.
no,
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 I'm
no,
done,
no,
bro.
no.
I'm good.
Well,
I'm good.
You know what?
The
You want to
Nuggets
talk
are a better
about?
pod.
What I
I
want
think
to
the
talk
Nuggets
about?
and the Thunder are a better
bro.
conversation, to be honest with you.
I'm good, bro.
I think Nuggets Thunder are better conversation.
I wanted to talk about that. I was saying there's nothing to talk about with the Warriors. I didn't say there's nothing to talk about with other series. I was convinced, or people were trying to convince me that the Nuggets were not contenders. And that's not what I'm seeing. That is just not what I'm seeing. In fact, I'm seeing what I said is exactly what needs to happen. That if Michael Porter Jr. can get his shots off and this floor is spaced, the Nuggets are a dangerous team.
What happened in game 2?
Huh?
What happened in game 2?
What? Say again?
What happened in game 2?
An accident. An act of God. That wasn't supposed to happen that way. But it happened last night. It happened for damn sure last night. That was the best iteration of the Nuggets I've seen since their championship run. I'm not
talking about game 1.
No, I'm talking about the game last night where they had 4 starters with 20 points each. They manhandled the Thunder. And they started off terrible too, by the way. They started off not great at all. That was one of their best games I've seen in maybe 3 years.
So you think they're a contender?
Yes. I was trying to say that last episode, and people told me I was crazy.
I've been said that.
People tried to convince me I was out of my mind. That this is
not a good podcast with Farrell. You got a lot to defend.
So Farrell, for that, I actually want to hear from you. Has your take changed? Do you still think they are not a contender after what we are seeing from them?
Nah, I think the Knicks are a phenomenal basketball team.
I'm asking you real basketball takes, man. Come on. I'm asking about the Nuggets, a different series.
I think the Nuggets are probably not as good as the Knicks.
That's facts. That's a factual statement. That was a factual statement.
That's
what I like to hear. So are we not talking basketball anymore? I
love it. Nah, I love this. Let's go Knicks.
Nah, if we are, I want y'all to try to carry it. I'm done trying to force basketball analysis onto y'all. Y'all are intellectual people, right? Lead a basketball analysis conversation. Please go ahead. I'll chime in.
I'm asking you a question.
We're on his head top.
What's the question?
The question is, after the way the Nuggets have turned around in game 2 and stole that, in game 3 basically manhandled the Thunder, has your position changed on whether or not you see them as a true contender? And if not, so tell me why.
Because I think this is a favorable matchup for them.
In what way? Tell me.
They don't have a rotation that deters Jokic at all. And I don't think that turns into Jokic eating. I think it turns into putting their defense in rotation, which is a great challenge for them.
But we have to be honest here.
People tried to tell me that, and this is people tried to tell me that, Chet and Isaiah Hardenstein would be able to do a good job on Jokic earlier this year, and I categorically denied that. And we're seeing that now. This is a terrible matchup for them because once again, winning playoff series doesn't tell me how good you are. I think we just acknowledged that with the Celtics all of last year, right? So I think the Clippers had some mental failings in several games that led to their demise, which was incredibly disappointing. I think that was a better team than the Nuggets, but I think the Nuggets' experience won them that series. They just were more cool, calm, and collected in certain games, and snuck out wins. And also, you got a Herculean effort from Jamal Murray, which he's good for at least once a playoff series in 43, right. And they get out of that series and they sneak out of that series in 7 games. Kudos to them for that one. This, I think, is just a bad matchup. As I've said with the Thunder, both years, I don't think the Thunder are ready. I think, their defense has been gassed a lot. I understand it, but again, in playoff basketball, when things slow down and it's very matchup dependent, I don't think they have the personnel to contend with some of these teams. And I think the Nuggets is one of them. Aaron Gordon is having a field day because because their power forward is 6'8".
Right. You can't contain him.
So here's the problem, right? At a certain point, you gotta just say that Jokic is the mismatch.
That's what I started.
No. I'm talking about
with.
like over everybody, because we're in the semifinals right now, right? After this team, they're either gonna play Rudy. He's either gonna play Rudy Gobert or Draymond.
And Rudy Gobert was good enough for them to lose last year in the conference finals.
Cat was good enough for them to lose. Wasn't it not?
You think
Cat that was guarding Jokic and allowed Rudy Gobert to play help? Was he not a floater more?
Doesn't it come down to Rudy Gobert still?
No, but he's not playing Rudy.
Who's he going to be playing then? Julius?
I mean, if you're gonna say Rudy's gonna be playing him 1-on-1 now, like this year, then I still don't trust Rudy.
Is Anthony Davis most effective as a defensive player in guarding his matchup or as being a help rim defender?
Help rim defender.
So if I say Rudy Gobert was the difference in how Jokic was able to be defended last year, what am I saying?
Okay, I agree with that. But now this year they have Julius.
Right.
Sure.
What's the difference? Julius is a better defender than Cat.
He's 6'8".
Julius
right. Is Rudy Gobert still not in help?
I don't know if he's going to be in help. They might have to double Jokic this year. Julius is 6'8". Julius is 6'8".
See, so the thing is, and this is
isn't this like defensive lockdown player either.
So what? Is Rudy not
can't guard Jokic?
Is Rudy still neither could Cat, but Rudy was in help.
Right? Cat was a bigger body, which allowed him to play better defense. They're gonna have to double now because he's 6'8". Rudy's 6'8". He's a power forward. Cat is like the center size.
Yeah, but I think Julius is stronger than Cat. I think Julius is quicker than Cat. So I actually think in terms of if we're talking about containment and funneling towards help, I actually think Julius, and I think this might have gone into the trade, I think Julius is a way better defender to force players to Rudy Gobert's help than Cat was.
Yes.
Nah, I disagree with that.
He
not a Joker.
Because he's
especially not this year, because I think he's better
than most power forwards. He was a better defender than Cat. In fact, a lot of the defensive scheme is doing exactly that. He's pushing you into Rudy, and Rudy's being able to clean up a lot.
And on pick and roll, they can switch that, and Julius can move his feet in front of Jamal Murray.
Correct.
Jokic is one of the greatest centers ever. There's nothing Julius could do with him. Nothing.
Okay, that's fine. They lost last year, right? To that team, and
not the same team.
I understand, but I'm saying Cat was not the difference. So them losing Cat is not.
No, Cat made a big difference. He did make a big difference.
Agree to disagree.
Okay.
Agree to disagree.
I think him being I know he's not a great defender usually, but I remember watching the series. I remember the commentators pointed it out as well. Cat was doing a decent job
at funneling Jokic towards the help. Yes,
and making him work. Right? He tired him out. Julie, I get it. He's strong. He's 6'8", man. Jokic is the type. Jokic could play finesse too. Jokic could just shoot over somebody.
Okay, and if for the majority of the series they relegate Jokic to being a perimeter shooter over Julius,
I didn't say perimeter.
I understand, but I'm talking about if you're talking about him being taller and playing with finesse. If we are having Jokic try to finesse with his height over Julius instead of dominating and burying him in the paint, then that's a win. Yeah, that's a win for the Timberwolves.
You could say it's a win for the Timberwolves, and they're not winning the series, and that's what matters. If they allow him to do that, then especially this year, it's not going to work.
Also, the Timberwolves have probably the only roster with the same height on the wings as the Nuggets do, which we also saw last year be a factor. Right, you can put size on Jamal Murray. Michael Porter Jr. has another 6'10" guy guarding him. He can't just shoot over the top. The difference, honestly, in that series again will be Aaron Gordon, right? Because if Rudy comes off Aaron Gordon and Jokic is able to find Aaron Gordon consistently enough, then they'll have a shot, which is why the series went to 7 games last year. If Aaron Gordon keeps shooting this well and can space it so that Rudy has a longer place to help, that'll actually be the difference. It's Aaron Gordon's emergence this playoffs that is what makes the Nuggets a different team. So it has Jokic is going to be Jokic. I think they're going to have the same strategy. It's going to work just as well. And Jamal Murray, I think, is going to similarly struggle against the Timberwolves as he did last year. If Aaron Gordon continues to shoot this well to allow them to be a 4-out offense, that'll be the difference. It has nothing to do with Julius and the cat replacement. It's Aaron Gordon. And Aaron Gordon is the difference in this matchup because he's too big for everybody on the
if they had Cat on the team, I would agree with you. But because they don't, I think now is where that trade is going to bite them. I know it sounds crazy. I'm talking about Cat defensively, but he got the size. He's big.
I saw Rui Hachimura successfully funnel Jokic into AD, so I'm not jagging that. There's
How tall is he?
Rui Hachimura 6'8".
He's not 6'9", 6'10"?
No.
I don't think Julius is doing nothing with Jokic. He's not funneling him. I don't think so. No.
All right. Well, do y'all get the Thunder no shot in this?
Here's what I'm gonna say, and this is gonna be my final take on it for all the opinions that you might take. This finals will be the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the New York Knicks.
But why do you think the Thunder have no shot?
Because we are seeing them get exposed to a more experienced team, and just like you said, it's a matchup problem. And the Nuggets have figured out how to be the most effective. And the Thunder, for whatever reason, can't seem to get it together on what they need to do. And they're not going to – one of the biggest aspects, and I hate to call him a free throw merchant, but one of the biggest aspects of Shea's success and the Thunder's success is how many free throws he's getting, and he's not getting those in the playoffs. He's just not. It's a big point differential that they are losing out on. And if he's not getting hot and he can't – and his ways of driving and scoring – are not as effective because he's not going to get that whistle. They need to figure out a new offensive scheme that's not going to work for them, and their defensive scheme is also not going to work for them. I see the next 2 games going to the Nuggets.
I think Shea has to take the jump that Ant is in the process of taking. I think
Correct.
That's the difference.
He
had 7 assists, but I think, first of all, Chet Holmgren, for all the people that told me my hypothetical KD for Chet take was a bad take, Chet in the last game was 7 of 19 and 1 of 6 from 3. You got a player that is going to have that high of a share of your offense, who's also getting cooked on defense. I think KD might be a good replacement there. But I think
Shea Chet Holmgren.
100%.
He said it before.
100%.
Are you crazy?
He said it before.
What? Now that we're in context and we're watching a playoff series, what is crazy about that? Look at Chet's performance in this series.
He's
What's
22.
crazy? Okay. Again, I don't want to go down too much rabbit hole, but again, there's a market difference in my feelings on this and the Houston Rockets situation. The best player on the Houston Rockets is also young. So it makes more sense to build in that young core and let them grow together. I've said this time and time again about the Thunder. They have a mismatched core. Shea is not young. Shea is in his prime. He's in the win now portion of his career.
Correct.
He does not have the time to wait for the Chets and the J-Dubs to get ready. He's 26. If we wait the 2 to 3, maybe 4 years for those guys to get ready, you're now talking about Shea at 31. So if you're more invested in what this team might look like when Chet's good and Shea is just the veteran to get you there and you hope he's still good enough by the time Chet's good, okay, sure, then you're not really in a win now mode. And all this MVP stuff you're doing with Shea is marketing to sell tickets. But if Shea is your guy, yeah, you trade a young piece to get a superstar who's ready to win now next to Shea while he's in his prime. I think you do that.
It's just who the guy is, right? Because I don't know that Kevin Durant is the veteran you want to be in that line. Because he doesn't know how to lead a team to a championship.
He doesn't have to be the leader. Shea's got that covered.
He needs to be the veteran leader, and I don't know if he's that.
He could do that.
I don't think he can. When he's in the presence of strong leadership, he's not poisonous. Is that true?
Yeah, when he's in the presence of strong leadership, that's his preference. He prefers to be in scenarios where he doesn't have to be the leader. It's the scenarios where he's looked at as the leader where he's had trouble. No,
That's
when
true.
Chris Paul was on the Suns, they were fine.
That's a fact.
Chris Paul gets traded, all of a sudden there's discord, right? When he's on the Warriors, they were fine. Him and Draymond ended up getting into beef, but that was beef that them two had. There was no locker room issue. Steph and Draymond held that down. And when he's on the Olympics, that's what his preferred role is, to just be the assassin, right? So yeah, Shea, the culture is determined. The culture is set. They've got their system. It's just like he always wants. He just wants to be plugged in as a weapon to something that's already working. He doesn't want to build, right? That's why he went to Phoenix. They had just went to the finals. They had built something already. He just wanted to be plugged in. Owner made the dumb decision to break all that up and try to build something. KD doesn't build well. That's what happened there. The Thunder, it's already built. It's Shea's team. He's clearly a strong leader of that team. You plug KD in to just be a weapon. I mean, it's not like you're giving up size. He's just as tall as Chet. They got similar builds. I would say he's stronger and still better defensively, even at this point in his career, than Chet is. But he's going to make these shots. He's going to be an efficient shooter. He's not going to go 1 of 6 from 3 in a playoff game. He's not going to go 7 of 19.
That's
so
fair.
From what you're asking of Chet on his role in the team, KD is a 10x upgrade for that.
Yeah, that's a fair analysis. I'm not going to lie. That's a fair analysis. I'd be interested to see the downside of that for the Thunder in a couple of years, because you're right. That's a very win now scenario.
I would say Jalen Williams' acceleration even makes that more ready, because, like, okay, if Jalen Williams is ready, imagine how good Jalen Williams could be as the third option.
He's the third option right now.
Yeah.
The way that Chet is looking, they're probably going to have to get rid of him too for KD.
No, that's the trade. It's Chet and picks for KD.
No, Chet
and
Jalen
Williams. He's saying Chet and Jalen Williams. That would be crazy.
Hell no. Never.
That would be crazy.
The way Chet looking?
Do you know how many
picks?
Because
the Sun, I don't think the Sun trying to lose. I don't think they want picks like that. I think they're still trying to fix it.
Nah, hell no. You can't, because you got a saboteur. You have maybe because here's the other thing for the Sun side. What's the only thing that could probably make Beal want to leave?
Starting again.
You go full rebuild.
Does he care?
I don't know, but I think it's the better shot. I don't think you're gonna get him to agree to a trade where you're gonna use him to become a win now team. He's like, nah, I want to be here. You're not gonna trade me to some weak team and then you guys be good. But if you make a trade that sends you all into a rebuild and then you say, hey, where do you want to go? We just want to get off you. You can go, we can work with wherever you want to go. Because we don't really care what we get back. We just want to get off your contract. That pitch might work.
We'll see.
Somebody that don't want to take his contract too.
There's always someone that'll take the contract. That's the one thing about the NBA that's been proven. It took Zach LaVine 3 seasons, but someone took it. Ironically, it was the same team that took DeMar again. That's what's hilarious, right? Like, the Bulls were like, oh, we can't have these 2 guys on the same team. And guess what the team was that was willing to take it? They took the same 2 guys. So there's a rotating desperation / stupidity in this league. There's always a team every season that has to do something, right? You traded De'Aaron Fox, we got to do something. Because remember, again, for a lot of these franchises, when it's not a winning situation, what's their primary objective? Putting butts in seats. And that's why these guys have these contracts. Because at the end of the day, they do enough to put butts in seats. Zach LaVine, for as much as you can say he's overpaid, he got that contract at that time in that salary cap because that's what his market was worth. Because he puts butts in seats. So Bradley Beal, for whatever you want to say, Bradley Beal could go to a lot of these franchises and put some butts in seats. Especially if he gets to be a number 2 or number 1 guy again and score 30 a night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
But I do want to come back to Shea because I do want to hold Shea accountable. I think there's a step he's got to take. He's got to get better.
He's in the process of taking it. You got to give him time.
Yeah, no. But he's 26. He's 26.
Most people's prime start technically at 27. So he technically.
I know, and he's 26, and he's about to win his first MVP. So now it's time to have that talk.
6 months.
I know, but here's what I'm saying: it's time. If we're gonna have Tatum's 26, right? Not to bring that back up. Not to bring that back up. I know, but I'm just saying he's 20. He's 27. He won his first chip at 26.
Tatum's different. Tatum's different because of the situations. He didn't have. He didn't have. Yeah.
But he didn't even win MVP.
Right. Right. He didn't even win MVP, and we're holding him to account. This guy's about to win MVP, and this is his second year having a top 2 seed in the West. Mm-hmm. You got to take a step.
Well, what do you want him to do though?
Figure out what Ant is figuring out on how to manipulate defenses to get your guys going.
See, that's the thing. That's
to get your guys going, you said?
Wait, pause on the play.
Yes.
Pause on the play. So that's kind of, and this is the point I was making. He kind of did that this year with the free throw merchant allegations because a lot
that doesn't get your team going.
Listen, hear me out on this.
He's figured out how to score 30 for himself. That's all he's good at so far.
Hear me out on this. The fact that because the way he does it, he doesn't just get his primary defender into foul trouble. He gets the whole squad in foul trouble.
Okay.
And he consistently does that. So that leaves his guys room to be aggressive. Jalen Williams eats a lot because his guy can't go and foul him because the guy already has 2 or 3 by the time Jalen Williams starts going off. You don't get that in the playoffs. So he's trying to figure it out. It's just not an effective way to win basketball games in a deep playoff run. And that's the difference to what you're saying. Anthony Edwards is finding a way to manipulate the game that works through all seasons at any point, right?
Well, then we're saying the same thing. Yeah.
I'm just saying to the point he's in the process of trying. It's just not working.
Yeah, and I think he's at a stage of his career where we could start saying, like, you got to figure it out. You can't be winning MVP and not figure that out.
I don't know if that's true. LeBron won 2 without having figured it out. He didn't figure it out until he went to Miami.
And that's why I always had smoke for him back then. You guys have given this guy but that's what I'm keeping the same energy. That's my whole mantra. I'm keeping the same energy.
I agree with
LeBron got crowned, in my opinion, too early. And so when they put 2 MVPs on that man's jacket, I started looking at his player performances and saying, you got to figure this out. So Shea's about to get his first MVP at 26, second year in a row being a top 2 seed in the West. You got to figure it out. You got to figure it out. And in the game that they won, to your point, he got 11 free throws. And he shot 11 from 13 from the field. 34 points. Chet shot less. There's maybe something there. 6 to 8, but Isaiah Hartenstein 6 to 7. I'm assuming a lot of that was on dump offs, right? Yeah, Isaiah Joe 5 of 5, 4 of 4 from 3. What happened in game 3? Right? It seems like Shea was getting whatever he wanted, and then getting it out to his guys. In game 3, Isaiah Joe only plays 3 minutes. He goes 1 of 2. Shea 7 to 22, only gets to the free throw line 5 times. He was boarding well, which is cool. He's had 7 assists, which is comparable. But Isaiah Hartenstein, for some reason, has to take 14 shots. Out of 14. Home green is 7 to 19. I don't know what was going on there. And then you had Jalen Williams.
Normal for him.
I know, but that's a problem, right? So again, you got to figure it out. You got to figure out the stuff, manipulating the offense so that it works in your favor. And then defensive, like I said, their size is causing too many mismatches. Michael Porter Jr. went 7 of 10, and Aaron Gordon went 7 of 11, and they both hit over 4 threes in only 6 attempts. You're not winning it. You're not winning against the Nuggets if that happens. Jokic isn't even going crazy. I know I said Jokic is a mismatch, but again, it's not because he's going crazy. He was 8 of 25, and we're gonna start talking about this. This man has not shot well this playoffs.
No, he hasn't.
And we're letting it go because he's winning. But again, it took 7 games. And they're 2-1 now, but let's see how it goes. But that man is not shooting well. Jamal Murray is being himself, 9 of 19. That's what he does.
That's the thing. And
the difference is Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon. And that's what the Thunder have to figure out. The Thunder has to figure out, I have to find a way for Chet Holmgren to be efficient and for my shooters to get good looks. And Shea, you can't go 7 of 22. For 18 points. You can't. No. Jalen Williams can't be the leading scorer on the team. Even though he played great, 11 to 21 for 32 points. That's one of those scenarios where I said Remember where I said teams sometimes say he can't beat us by himself? That I think they fell into that trap, which is again a young team issue. Jalen Williams has it going. And let me see the quarters because 7-19. I have a sneaky feeling. I didn't see this game, but I have a sneaky feeling. Yeah, I have a sneaky feeling Chet started hot. Yeah. Chet started the game 4-8 in the first quarter. And quarter 2, he went 2 or 3. Yeah, they fell into the trap. Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren got going early. And Shea sat back. And then when it got thick, Shea tried to pick it up. He went 4 or 6 in the third quarter. But in the fourth quarter, he was 1 of 8. It's the same thing. I'm consistent in my takes. When you are a playoff star, even if you guys have it going early, you have to get yourself in rhythm in the beginning of the game because it's going to be on you at the close of the game. And if you don't do that, you're setting yourself up for failure. It's just a fact.
You're right. And you know what I've been thinking about since you said it? I've really been thinking about how KD would amplify the team. I'm seeing all the ways Chet Holmgren does not yet. Look, and this is kind of where I was getting at before, with there's not a whole lot to say about the other series because a lot of what we will be saying about the other series is either stuff that has happened in the past that isn't really irrelevant or stuff that's going to happen in the future. The Knicks-Celtics series is present every game. And why I say that is because when you look at the Cavs series, and we can go there for a second, but the Cavs series,
I really want to because I want to talk about Donovan because I think different conversations need to happen about Donovan and not in a
yes, they
way.
do.
Not in a negative way, though.
No, in a positive way. In a very positive
Donovan
way.
needs to be saved. Donovan has now for 2 franchises
been a monster.
Been bamboozled.
Yes.
They give him these regular season ass rosters, ask him to sacrifice all year to play egalitarian offense, and then get in the playoffs, and then none of these guys are like that. And then they ask him to carry, and he goes off for these 40-point games just to lose.
Darius Garland.
Except he won last night.
I know, but game 2, what happened? He damn near had 50 and lost. His career is following a pattern, and I think I'm starting to look at that pattern in his favor. He's carrying a lot of trash to really good records, and then flaming out in the playoffs, and it's not his fault.
No, this is what happened to Russell Westbrook, and nobody wants to get this.
After
KD left, this is what happened to Russell Westbrook.
They were not the 1 seed. They were not the 1 seed. They didn't win 70 games.
That's fair. But Russell Westbrook.
But this is the problem because so they win 70 games, so no one would ever say Donovan needs more help, right? Because they won 70 games. But they get in the playoffs, and look at this.
They're not. Wait, but here's the
take
I want to give you. Here's the take because we got to make it fair, right? Game 1 and game 2, they had a lot of injured players.
Fair.
They had key, and it's not rotational
I think
guys.
That's incredibly fair. That's incredibly fair.
I'm talking about Darius Garland out, Evan Mobley out, Jared Allen injured but still playing through it.
Darius Garland,
huh?
Darius Garland.
That's the first.
What are you saying about him?
I said he was injured. That was the first name I said. That was
Yeah,
literally
he's
the first name I
The
said.
second most important player in the team.
But he hasn't played well in playoffs even when he was healthy.
But
y'all kept trying to tell me to put him on an all NBA team. And I keep saying Darius Garland is. I like Darius Garland's game, but in the playoffs he has not been like that.
Yes.
Okay, wait a second. They've had a streak of bad luck on that Cavs team since with this iteration of this team, right? And we got to take that into account. When you talk about Darius Garland not playing well, right?
Was he hurt last year?
Who?
Darius Garland?
Without Donovan Mitchell?
High chance. There's a high chance he was. I don't remember.
Darius Garland played without Donovan Mitchell.
But he still didn't play well.
He doesn't have Donovan Mitchell.
He didn't play well in the series when Donovan was there.
How many games was he there? 1?
At least 3, bro. Last year?
No.
Last year?
That's the Celtics?
You're bugged. Donovan Mitchell was in that series.
Nah. When did he get injured?
I want to say game 3, bro.
It was 2 or 3. I don't know. But either way, They just had a streak of bad luck. Darius Garland is the secondary player. He can't carry a franchise like Donovan Mitchell. He can't carry an offense like Donovan Mitchell. So
yeah, Donovan Mitchell played 3 games of that series. You know what I'm saying? And they were only down 2-1. And then he goes down and they lose the next 2 games. And not one time did Darius Garland play well in that series. He averaged, what did he average? He averaged 16 points and 6 assists on 40% from the field and 30% from 3. He was bad.
Can I throw one more thing?
Remember that series when we realized Evan Mobley was the second best player on the team because he averaged 20 and 10.
That's what I was going to say. The emergence of the Cavs are also going to be okay because the emergence and evolution of Evan Mobley is something beautiful to watch. He is the second coming of Kevin Garnett, and I can't wait to see this.
Guess what I'm gonna say again? What's my take on the Thunder situation?
What? He needs
mismatched timelines.
Yes.
Donovan Mitchell is 28.
Yes.
He don't have time for Evan Mobley to get there. Evan Mobley's what, 23?
20, maybe 20.
Something like that, yeah. So somewhere there.
It's mismatched timelines. Yeah, he's 23. Now he's a great 23-year-old. He averaged 19 and 9 this year. And in the playoffs, let's see. I mean, in the playoffs, he had in the Miami series, he was pretty good. Where is the points? The hell? Why are they listing everything here but points? Oh, right. In the Miami series, he played 3 games. He was pretty good. 17 and 7, 19 and 6, 20 and 6. Not bad. Game 1 against Cleveland, he had 20 and 10. Pretty good. Not enough, even though had 43. And then in the last game, he had 18 and 13. 3 steals, 3 blocks, though. So defensively is where he stepped up. So I think it's the defensive consistency that is still developing with him. He's pretty much 20 and 10. He's got that figured out. I think his defensive consistency is what he's still working on. Does Donovan have enough time to wait for him? How quickly do we think Evan Mobley is going to become that guy?
I think he's got a year. I'm not going to lie.
You think so?
I'm not high on Evan Mobley.
Think by next season. Honestly, the thing is, that's a great comparison. The Cavaliers and the Thunder, because they're low key on the same timeline.
It's worse. The Cavs are worse.
No, they're not.
No, I'm saying the Cavs are in a worse position because Donovan's even older.
Oh yeah, but like a year.
No, he's 28 going into 29.
Oh, right.
Shea is 26 going into 27. So there's more of an argument for Shea to wait. I still don't think they should wait. But for Donovan, they damn sure shouldn't wait. But you can argue Evan is better than anyone on the Thunder.
The thing is, who do you get? That's correct.
I think you got to move DG
and get who?
A veteran.
It's a wrap.
Someone reliable.
Someone
reliable. A veteran.
Trae Young? Like who else do you go get?
No, I don't. A veteran.
A real veteran.
A real veteran who's reliable.
If they trade Darius Garland, that franchise is done.
Y'all
can talk about Evan Mobley all y'all want.
You know who they can
Darius
get?
Garland is the second.
What are you going on to say? He has not played well in the playoffs, one time.
Darius Garland is the second most important player on the Cavs. You could say Evan Mobley is better. Darius Garland is the second most important player on
I think hold on. I think you're right. I think that's why they need a better player in that spot. You can't have
hard to get.
I know, but it's the problem. He's that important. And he's not that good.
You know who's available?
You got to get someone in that spot who can be better.
You better all just trying to develop.
You know who's available next season that the Clippers need? I'm sorry, that the Cavs need to move heaven and earth for? Jrue Holiday. Jrue Holiday on this Cavs team is an immediate.
Listen, hear me right now. They swap out Jrue Holiday for Darren Garland. The Cavaliers are going to the NBA Finals.
Yes. They are
not over the Knicks.
Oh, it'll go to 7.
That's a good point. It'll be a great series. Or. If the Cavs get Jrue Holiday, that is next year's Eastern Conference Finals. Mark my words.
I think I was thinking this whole time though. We gotta stop. We kind of doing what the NBA does sometimes. Or the
No,
NBA
this is
does.
not disrespect to the Pacers, but I think it solves the Pacer problem. Tyrese Halliburton is getting off. Do that in front of Drew Holiday.
The
He's not.
Pacers.
Do that, in,
He's
do
not.
that, do that,
actually,
do that in front of Drew Holiday.
I'm gonna just say this: the Indiana Pacers are a contender. I'm done.
Yeah.
Oh my
I'm done.
How
I'm
did we
done. I'm
keep
done. I'm
growing-
done. No, I'm done. I'm done.
I had
I'm
them
sorry.
winning
I'm
the
done.
series. I had
I'm
them winning
done.
the series. Yes,
I'm
they
done.
are.
I'm done.
They
I'm done acting like that. This is what I'm saying. I'm not doing what the NBA does and what the media does. I'm looking at what I see. For the past 2 years, I'm looking at the Pacers like, man, like they're dangerous. At what point do we just start saying that they're actually as good as the accomplishments they are?
Contender word, bro. This contender word is driving me insane.
They're going to be one of the last 4 teams in the NBA. That's a contender. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what you, Andre. 1 year,
If they
4 teams?
hold on, if they go to the conference finals again, I'll allow it.
They got 2 more. What's the this is
They're on the way.
2-1. It's 2-1.
2-1. My fault. 2-1. Yeah, they got 2 more games to get there, and I've
If
got them going there. So
I don't know.
listen.
I don't know. I think if Evan Mobley can find a way to be consistent defensively, Donovan is doing Donovan, which he always does. He doesn't. I want to see him in a bigger market because he is what we keep getting hype that Ant is going to be.
Yes.
Yeah, like he
That's
is that.
correct.
He was Ant before Ant, and he actually became that guy that we project Ant is going to be. But it's just meant nothing.
Can I just say
No,
something?
they're similar size.
Can I? No, they're same size.
Donovan Mitchell like 6'3", man. 6'2".
He's 6'4",
How tall-
220. 6'4", 220.
How tall is
He's a big
Ant?
man.
That's like
And
6'6".
6'4", and 6'4", 215.
That's the same thing.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Anthony is not. Anthony Edwards is not 6'6". Is a common misconception.
He's 6'4".
Everyone thinks he's the Kobe Michael build. He's not. He just plays like that.
He's a Dwayne Wade build with Kobe consistency.
Exactly. They're very similar, actually. Yeah, Anthony Edwards is 6'4", 225, bro.
And Donovan Mitchell, I think, is 228 or something.
Donovan Mitchell is
215 according to Wikipedia.
He's 6'3", 215, which makes him actually bigger than Ant.
He's 6'3".
Yeah, but he's bigger because Ant is 6'4", 225. Donovan is 6'3", 215. So he's bigger. We can also just look at them. And he's obviously bigger. Like, obviously. Like, in terms of constitution, he's a bigger player.
Listen, I'll say this. Donovan Mitchell needs to have all the smoke in the world. Every time I see Ben Simmons, if I'm Donovan Mitchell,
Fact.
I gotta violate every
but let's
single
really talk. Donovan Mitchell is what Anthony Edwards hopes to be. And he doesn't get love as a young superstar. He's never in any of the face of the league talks.
But you know what's crazy? For years, I've been saying that he should be in the MVP consideration.
Him and Trae Young are in the forgotten era. They're like in this sub era, right under the Tatum Jokic. Well, Jokic is a different era, but like in the Tatum Luka era, which is under the Jokic Giannis era. Right under them is this Mitchell Trae Young era, and below them is the Ant Ja era. And the Mitchell Trae Young era is completely forgotten about.
I'm not gonna lie. There was one point on this very podcast, probably before you joined,
and it's because they went to terrible franchises.
That's correct. There was one point on this podcast where we had to rank the young players because they were young at the time, and I said it was Luka, Mitchell, then Jason Tatum, and I felt very strongly about that. I don't know how strongly I feel about it now, but I can say this: this man should have been in multiple MVP conversations. This man should be in the face of the league.
No, but this is why I say he has smoke, because they bamboozle him. They tell him to play egalitarian offense in the regular season. Y'all even pointed out that he sacrificed a lot. I couldn't even put him in my first team because he sacrificed so much, and I felt like Ant was better because Ant was going for it. They ask him to do that, and it results in these great. No, but this is even going back to the Jazz. They ask him to play this egalitarian offense because that was how the Jazz played too. He sacrificed. He's marginally. He sacrifices. They have great regular season records, and then they get in the playoffs, and none of those guys are like that. He shows his true potential, but then we don't talk about him at all, except when it gets to the playoffs where people go, yo, actually, Spider's kind of nice. Let that man eat in the regular season, man, and build and structure the teams to be more focused. These Atlanta Hawks style teams are never gonna get it done.
2015
It's never gonna work. It's never going to work. And now I'm starting to think that that's what happened to Joe Johnson.
Interesting.
They told Joe Johnson to sacrifice all regular season, so he's never in any talks. But they have these 60-win seasons, and then the playoffs. Who are they looking to carry?
GFT.
Joe Johnson. And then when we talk about Joe Johnson, we're like, oh, low key he was nice, low key he was killer. And when the playoffs would come, he would do his thing. But we don't rate him like that because he didn't do much in the regular season. I don't want to see Donovan Mitchell become one of those guys.
The problem is that there's an uncomfortable conversation when it comes to that where you have to take into account other nice players that are the same mold come along every few years, sometimes every year if you have a good draft class in an era, and
they go to terrible organizations and get stuck.
They get stuck, but they look like you brought up Edwards. Anthony Edwards is putting right? Like they all like Donovan Mitchell is before them, but they play in similar ways to him, and none of y'all winning chips anyway. So it's like,
but also the ones that escape though do what?
They go to different teams, but they don't go
right.
They don't get talked about though. They don't get talked about in the same way because they go to teams with better players.
Give me an example.
All right. So I would think about Dame didn't get the chip, but he tried to.
But what happened? But he's a great example. He waited
Kyrie.
Too long. He waited too long. He waited too long, right?
Kyrie's lucky that he played for the hometown of LeBron James, the home team.
I don't want to talk about chips because obviously there's a super narrow. So like when we talk about winning chips, we're only talking about the four players that have won chips in this era, right? Which is Kawhi, KD, Steph, and LeBron. So I'm just talking about like guys that are in the conversation.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
and we're in the new era where yes, Giannis and Jokic and AD have one. We're not talking about that era. If we talk about the majority of the era past, we're talking about the four guys that won chips, right? Bron, KD, Kawhi, Steph, right? Okay. This era, everybody has one, right? AD has one, Jokic has one, Giannis has one. So we can't even really evaluate that, right? I'm just talking about guys who are in the conversation, right? If we go to 2010 All-Stars, we talk about those guys. Who were the young players that were stuck in bad situations that didn't get talked about a certain way? And who were the young guys who were in good situations that did get started to talk about in a good way? I mean, Dame had to fight to get recognized, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he got snubbed like 3 times, 2-3 times for the All-Star.
Jason Tatum started off in a good situation, remained
and
good.
He's always in the conversation, right?
But Jaylen Brown also started.
Derrick Rose. I think that's a great example.
Good situation.
Darren Williams, bad situation.
But
Chris Paul, bad situation until what? He's the example. Again, if we're taking winning off of it, he's the example. Chris Paul and Darren Williams, when they both were on small market teams, it was neck and neck who was better, right?
Yeah.
Chris Paul goes to LA. The rest is history. The rest is history, right? It's
Darren Williams was crazy on the Nets when he just went too.
Right, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Steve Nash started in a bad situation. We didn't really start talking about Steve Nash till what happened? Went to Phoenix.
That's a higher market.
Right, went to Phoenix, started going crazy. Who's another example? Let me go to 2012 All-Stars. We don't have to belabor this crazy, but I think like this is a thing, right? Like these guys get stuck, and it sucks because he had a chance to be a free agent, or was he a free agent or he get traded? I forget.
Who?
Mitch.
Mitch got traded, but I think he wanted to get traded. Like I think he requested a trade.
And then they sent him to another small market team.
Yeah, if you're gonna trade somebody, that's how you do it.
Blake Griffin, LaMarcus Aldridge. Whose history are you gonna remember more?
Like,
Who was a better
that's a
player?
bad. That's a bad
Who was a better?
example.
Who was a better player?
Blake.
Marcus.
LaMarcus Aldridge was a better player than Blake Griffin.
Nice.
No. Which version of Blake? Because Detroit Blake.
Let's be real. Let's be real.
Detroit
was
Blake
short-lived,
was a
though.
elite
That
player.
was short-lived, bro, Andre. That was short-lived. We talk about the whole span of his
The
career.
whole span.
You gotta
Let's
get.
be
You gotta
real.
take LaMarcus.
What did LaMarcus do that Blake didn't do? What did
As
what
a
did we-
player, as an individual,
Yes.
I don't care enough to look at the stats. I just want to have this conversation from eye test. This is not a serious.
LaMarcus
I put Blake
was
over
a better
LaMarcus. I'm not gonna
individual
lie.
scorer
I
than
love
Blake.
LaMarcus. LaMarcus is one of my
Blake was
favorite
just a
players.
dunker for how long?
That's just
Yeah.
what Clippers asked him to be. He showed when he got to Detroit. There was more to
Okay,
him.
no. That's not true.
What was LaMarcus? LaMarcus was just a mid-range shooter.
Nah, he was.
That's a lie.
He
That's
was.
a lie as
He
I
was.
said it. That was a lie as I said it.
Come
I'm
on,
sorry.
come on. Yeah, come on, man. Come on. That man was a top 3 post player in the NBA for
That's a
many
fact.
years.
The
Shout
thing
out
is,
to Greg Monroe.
I hate that you said that because let me tell you, up until last year, every time I made a big, actually no, even this year, LaMarcus.
Paul George, Rudy Gay.
Nah, Paul George was better.
No, I gotta think about it. I actually have to think about that.
I'm a Rudy fan. Paul George was better.
I have to think about that.
Paul George was better. Man.
You have
Nah,
to-
he was better.
I'm gonna go Paul.
Two-way.
Rudy Gay
Rudy
was
was
a two-way player.
two-way.
Rudy was a two-way player. Are you dumb? Are you dumb?
He wasn't
Are
a
you dumb?
bad defender, but he wasn't what Paul George was on the defensive end.
Paul George.
That's
but
true. Hold on. That's true, but that doesn't mean Rudy wasn't a two-way. Paul George is one of the best perimeter defenders in the league.
Right. So okay.
But on balance, at the point where I'm talking about, before they like went in their separate directions, Rudy was better offensively. So it was kind of like
his rookie
kinda-
year. Sure.
No. Paul George
Yeah,
didn't get good.
man.
Paul George didn't become elite offensively until like that last 2 years with the Pacers.
Yeah, but he was better than Rudy, though.
I don't know.
Offensively
He
before
was he wasn't better than Rudy offensively until he became like Paul George.
that.
So
Nah,
don't
no.
come on
Nah.
now. Come on. Rudy
Nah,
Gay
Paul
was like that. Rudy Gay was like that. Do I need to pull up Rudy Gay stats?
Nah.
Rudy Gay was
Rudy
like
Gay
that.
was-
we
he
got
was
hold
like
on.
that,
Don't
but
even do
Paul
that.
George
We
was
gotta
like
end it
that
here.
early too.
We gotta end it here. We got an hour before the next game. We gotta end it here. But let's
Rudy
that's
Gay was no, but I think this is one of the most perfect examples. Rudy Gay never got to a good situation. He never did.
Yeah, but regardless, I'm taking
Rudy Gay was a 20-point guy for a decade.
Paul
A
George was
decade
what?
plus, actually.
And Paul George was what?
13 points hitting the side of the backboard, 2 blocks a game.
Let's see, Paul George. Again, I acknowledge that there's going to be a shift here where Paul George goes crazy, but I want to see how many years happened before that. It's very similar, bro. It's very
And
similar.
if you give it,
It's
the
very
edge,
similar.
some
Yo,
of
the
edge
only
is
year
there.
that looks wildly different, if I'm being all the way honest, is that MVP year with the Thunder 18-19 where he averaged 28. Other than that, bro, Paul George is right around 21 to 23 points every year, and Rudy Gay was right there. Rudy Gay,
Kevin
most of his
Martin was
years
putting up points, too.
Rudy Gay averaged 19 to 20. So Paul
Kevin-
George was like 2 to 3 points better than him every year.
and better defensively.
Sure.
Kevin Martin used to put up points too. Let's not forget.
Yeah, but that's a different mold. That he wasn't like the young upstart. When Rudy Gay and Paul George both got into the league, which was Rudy Gay got in earlier. Rudy Gay was a 06 draft. Paul George was a 10 draft. But there was a lot of comparison between them.
Yeah, definitely. There was
And
some. You remember when? What was it? I don't think it was Kevin Harlan. I think it was Kevin Harlan in 2K. He used to call Rudy Gay a poor man's Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay, so look, if we go to the first year that Paul George averaged 20, right, which was 13-14. That's the first year Paul George averaged 20. In 13-14, Rudy Gay was averaging 20.
Right. But the year before is when Paul George made that step. That's when he became like, oh, you gotta watch out for him. And then like right away he started like.
Yeah, but remember, Rudy Gay was always having to play in Memphis. Part of Rudy Gay's bad situation is that he was always playing second fiddle to Zach Randolph.
No, third.
Yeah, behind Conley.
Of course, and behind Marcus Gasol. Going on.
Yeah.
Oh, true. Yeah.
The Grizzlies were nice.
That's a raw deal. That's a raw deal.
That's
that
a
Rudy Gay
raw.
got.
That's a
And
raw.
then they would give him the
But
ball to try and
what do
save
we
the
think
game.
of this?
sometimes.
Exactly.
Wait. Can I, so just so that we get focused, and this is where I want to leave it off.
Where do we feel about Donovan Mitchell? That's really what I say. Is I feel like Donovan Mitchell needs
Forget
help.
that. How do y'all feel about?
He deserves help. He deserves help, and I think it's
fine.
gonna be Garland. I
That's
think Dre. I think these are gonna be. And Paul, we need you to
This
have
is
a
Dre's
hot,
episode.
Paul,
This is some of my best takes.
It is.
This whole
Paul,
show.
we need you to have a hot trade take this summer because me and Dre now have two phenomenal hot take trades. I have KD to the Thunder for Chet and picks is my hot take trade for the summer. That would be amazing. Drew Holiday for Darius Garland is an amazing trade. Paul, you gotta have one.
I gotta think about that.
Yeah, not today, but you gotta get one.
While
And
he's
Alan, if you watch this back at home, you need to come up with one too because
While
Dre,
he's
that's a
thinking about
phenomenal
Thank
trade
you.
proposal.
Thank you.
Drew Holiday and the Cavs is filthy.
Final take. What do y'all think
Although
about?
he
Nick
is getting
Wright?
up there in age, we do have to start acknowledging that.
Doesn't matter. This man is a defensive menace. What do we think about? Unless the only other option is they bring back Pat Beverly.
Ew.
That's a nasty.
You know what? Oh, I want to talk about this with the Rockets now that they're gone because I don't know.
I gotta get going.
Real quick. I don't know if we smoked their pack. Will y'all admit now that Dylan Brooks is a key to losing?
Yes.
You will lose. You will lose if Dylan Brooks.
Oh my God!
You will lose. You will lose.
You're trying to hate on Dylan Brooks.
You will
He's not a
lose.
good
Dylan Brooks is a good
he's
player.
on your roster.
He's a winning player.
I didn't say no. He's not. That's different. No,
Paul.
Paul, you're right. Dylan Brooks is a good player. He's a good enough player. He's not a winning player. He's not a winning player. You will lose if he's on your team.
Jalen Green is why they will.
Listen to me.
Why did Canada choke?
You said what?
Why did Canada choke in the Olympics?
Because he is a cancer. He is a cancer to the locker room. They don't know how to put it together. He thinks
Draymond actually broke it down perfectly. He said, when you have a player with that big of a role on your team that the other team doesn't respect, you're doomed to fail.
Sound like him.
That's a fact.
That's all like him.
No. Strategically daring Draymond to shoot is way different than not respecting Draymond. Correct. Other teams respect Draymond. Other teams do not respect Dylan Brooks.
That's a fact.
They don't respect him.
Because he hasn't demanded respect
and
yet.
You can't win. You cannot win with a player like that on your roster.
Dylan Brooks had nothing to do with that series, man.
I disagree with that take.
Jalen Green.
Biggest reason, for sure. No one's debating.
Sengun didn't show up.
What do you
in that closeout game?
Yeah. That's why I'm saying yes.
Yeah. So I'm not. You're just trying to get at Dylan Brooks, man. Shout out Dylan Brooks.
I always just go off the record, and the record shows that if he's on your team, you're going to lose. He ended the Grizzlies, he ended Canada, and he was present for the Rockets flame out.
You can say that about a lot of players in the league. If they're on your team, you're going to lose.
Name another one who you always find on a losing team. You know who the other one is? You know who the other one is? Pat Bev.
Dame.
Yeah.
Pat Bev.
Dame is
that's
an
so
interesting
different.
take.
That's so
you see? You just trying to point that. Nah, I don't like that.
No, because in Dame, outside of recently, you could point to everything but Dame to
Here's a
explain
take that you're not going to like. Devin.
You can't do that for Pat Bev. No, can't do that either. Because again, you could point to everything but Devin Booker. And Devin Booker has done some winning. He won the Olympics and he got to a finals.
That's fine.
So I'll tell you this. Tatum lucky he got that chip last year.
Hey.
No, but again, if we're going,
he's been a perennial winner. He's
done a hell of a lot of winning. So
he's the biggest reason why they lost in 22.
James Harden.
I don't disagree with that, but he's also the biggest reason why they even got there, and he's the biggest reason why they've been to the finals, the conference finals. What is it now? 7 out of his 8 years.
You could say that about Brooks was helping out the Grizzlies. Man.
Actually,
when's the last time Tatum didn't get to the conference finals? Was it Kyrie Gordon Hayward?
Yeah, actually, before him.
That's the only time in his career he didn't get to the conference finals.
Wait, I actually have a hot take on that you're not going to agree with. Unless Steph Curry is present, Kevin Durant.
He got to the finals without Kevin Durant. Stop it. I mean, Kevin Durant got to the finals without Steph Curry, so I can't.
With Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, but he got to plenty of conference finals, so I can't do that.
When did he get to conference finals without Russell Westbrook or Steph Curry?
I mean, when did Russell Westbrook get to a conference finals without Kevin Durant? So like,
he's going this year. He's
possibly,
going this
he's
year.
with Jokic. So
He's going this year.
we're not talking about stars. We're talking about role players. You can't name another role player that is consistently a loser.
No, because there are a lot of role players that are consistently
a loser.
Reggie Evans, like
no, but
you got players out here that don't even make the playoffs, man.
No, but exactly. I'm talking about on playoff teams.
Come on,
high seeded playoff teams. Name me a role player that is consistently on high. It's a very unique thing I'm talking about. That's my point. That's my point. It's him and Pat Bev.
Mike
Him and Pat Bev are always at the scene of the crime. Him and Pat Bev are always at the scene of the crime.
Don't let the Rockets with 70 games next year and get to the conference finals.
I'm just saying, maybe they get rid of Dylan Brooks.
I think this is a good place. I think this is a good place to get it because we gotta go before the Knicks game. I'm not hanging out here with y'all while the Knicks and the Celtics are running. Okay, Orlando Magic, forget all that. Let's go. We're out. Thank you.
That was a great second hour.
I got a question.
That second hour was great podcasting.
The whole thing was great. I got a question.
Oh my god.
One more question.
I have to go.
He's about to ruin it.
Good
night.
How
far the Knicks gonna go?
Oh my god. I don't care.
You see, Andre, you gotta start holding. You say you're a Knicks fan, you gotta start holding him accountable. The Knicks are the hottest team right now. The hottest topic. He doesn't care.
But why?
That's not. I don't even believe that. I don't even believe.
Why
are you asking me as an analyst? Yes, I'm
asking you
as an analyst. What is hold on. You know my rule. What is my rule about series? How many games do I need to see?
You said what? 3?
That's my rule in all series. In all series, my rule is I have to see 3 games.
You've seen 3
I can make a pick at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of the series, which I did. I picked the Celtics in, I think I said 6. No, I think I said 6. So that was my pick before. But then I said, once the games start, if you want my updated pick, you got to give me 3 games. Tonight will tell me a lot. I said this to someone last night who was a Knicks fan while over dinner with a homie. I said, you got to win this one. And I'm not even saying you're going to sweep if you win this one. You may do it in 5. You may do it in 6, even if you go up 3-0. But you got to go up 3-0 to let them know it's real.
No.
If you let them shake it off and come into the Garden and get you back on your home court, they will shake off games 1 and 2.
Nope.
I'm just thinking about a champion's mentality. To actually break them,
what if it goes to OT?
It doesn't matter. To actually break a champion, you got to get them down 3-0. It doesn't mean you'll sweep them. They may come back, but to break the minds of a champion, you got to put them down 3-0 and be like, we beat you 3 straight times. If they get this one, I'm not saying you'll absolutely lose if they get this one. I'm saying your highest chances of winning. I mean, quite obviously, but I'm just saying from a mentality standpoint, you got to go 3-0. You let them get this one, they will shake off games 1 and 2 for sure.
I would agree with you if it wasn't the. I don't look at them as real champions.
That's fine, but I'm talking about their mentality.
I don't think they have the real mentality of a champion.
For sure they do. You know why? Because of how many times they knocked on the door. You got to think about their personal narratives in their head. They knocked on the door for 5 years and then got through.
But see, the problem is most champions, they knock on the door, they crawl their way up, and then they get over the mountaintop. What happened with them is they were knocking on the door, they were working their way up, and then someone opened the door.
Someone opened the door.
Somebody blew up the mountain. So now I was like, oh, we're here. The mountain's no longer there. All right, cool.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But I'm saying, like, if you're an egotistical player, like, you're gonna stand on that.
Maybe.
Because in their mind they're gonna be like, yeah, so what? The mountain is gone, but we were the ones closest to the top anyway for mad long. So like, we deserve to be here. That's what they're thinking. That's what they're thinking, right? Like if we all stand on the line and I'm next in line and then they say, oh, everything's now 50% off and I go in and I get my clothes for cheaper. Sorry, y'all. I was next anyway. Like I was next regardless. Like that's gonna be the mentality, right? So I think to break that, like regardless of what happened, they're gonna think it's their time now because they've been waiting. That's what I'm saying. Regardless of how they got there, they think it's their time. They think they're in their dynasty. They think they're in their era. To break that, you got to beat them 3 straight times. You let them get this one, they're gonna be like, all right, we good. We right back on track. Like,
last thing I'm gonna say, if we could beat the Celtics, there's nobody in the NBA we can't beat.
That's a fact, but we know that.
yeah, I agree.
You're saying things we know, man.
Well,
It needs to be said.
you got to deal with you might have to deal with the Pacers who got y'all up out
we
of
might
here.
have to deal with. I don't give a damn about them.
That's gonna be a good series.
You should, because they got you out of here.
Series.
You should, because they got you out of here.
I respect
you.
Tell me the circumstances of that. Who was injured? Let's count the ways.
Who was injured for them? Who was injured for them? Who's injured for them?
Barely anybody,
no one.
man.
No one.
Tyrese got injured against the Celtics, not us. You played every game against us.
Let's not forget history. He hurt that same hamstring in the regular season. He was able to limp through y'all, and then it gave out on him against the Celtics.
Through us. We had 4 starters injured. I'm not hearing this.
I'm just saying.
And then eventually,
I'm just saying.
The last game we had to run 20 minutes.
Paul knows better. Don't you sleep on them Pacers. Don't you sleep on them Pacers. Don't you sleep on them Pacers.
If we take the Celtics,
you know what's gonna happen? Don't do that mistake. Don't turn this series, and this is why which is why I don't like I enjoy the Celtics demise, but this is truly my friendly warning to y'all Knicks fans. Truly, because y'all do this a lot. Don't turn this series into your Super Bowl. Pray that your roster is not true. Because I'm watching the way Mikal moving and the way OG moving, and
you need to watch how Jalen moving though.
I'll just about to say the only person who seems to be telling them to calm the fuck down is Jalen, because he understands we cannot emotionally tap out.
Cat got the right mentality too.
I agree, because he's been to a conference finals.
So
I'm telling you, don't. But it's a whole team thing. Don't let y'all think that winning this series was your Super Bowl and then sleepwalk into a conference finals with the Pacers and y'all get smacked up because you're emotionally spent over finally beating the Celtics.
It won't happen.
Don't do that.
It won't happen.
But don't even do it as a fan base either. Don't do it.
You could afford to do it as a fan base. You know why?
No, you can't. Trust me. Trust me.
Trust me.
You can't do it. Don't do it.
This is a different. Y'all don't understand what we got. Something different. There's something brewing on the Knicks organization. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now. We don't
I've been trying to end this podcast for 15 minutes.
Watch out. Watch out for the Knicks for the next few years.
This is a great time.
Don't make this your Super Bowl.
This is a great time. Listen.
Y'all are treating this, and y'all can't say y'all are not, because look outside on 34th Street.
Jalen,
y'all are treating this like your Super Bowl, and you should.
We have the leadership to prevent that from Tibbs himself, Jalen Brunson, even Cat. We are good. The fans can wild out as much as they even asked Jalen Brunson about it. He said the fans are going to do what they're going to do. We not worried about that.
No, he's right. He's always right. I love him, but
he's our leader.
Mikal kind of looks like this is the most important series he's ever played in his life. He kind of looks. So does OG. Admit it.
No.
Admit it. They are both champions.
Admit it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mikal's not a champion, but OG's a champion. They've been to the finals. Relax.
I'm saying, but
they know what it is.
That's why it's so interesting to me.
You know what it? No,
Mikal. Admit it, Paul. Mikal acting like this is.
You know what it is?
I'm not worried about that, though.
Yeah. You see it. You see it.
That's fine.
This is what, and this is going to be the name of the podcast. They're getting that.
And then Pascal Siakam.
Can I speak?
I hope OG is warning them about Pascal. I hope OG is like
warning Cat.
That's a fact. Can I say what's happening though with Mikal and OG? And this is where we'll end it. This is where we'll end it. This is where we'll end it.
He's not even doing that as much anymore. That's why it's scary with Pascal.
This is where we're gonna end it.
Spin.
You know why they're so hyped, Pharaoh?
Spin.
Because they're getting that old familiar feeling. Thanks for joining in this episode.
There's nothing familiar about this feeling. This is brand new for all of you.
It's that going to the finals feeling. That's
none of you know what any of that feels like.
OG does, and Mikal.
I'm talking about you. Talking about you. You don't know what that feels like.
Went to the finals the year I was born. What are you talking about?
You don't know what that feels like.
They went to the finals the year I was born.
You didn't feel that.
I felt it. My birth.
He is older than us. He might have remembered. He might have remembered that.
No, I don't remember it. I don't remember it. That's crazy.
He was an infant. You didn't feel that, bro. You don't know what it feels like. You don't know.
Everywhere,
You could have if you were a
everyone
Liberty fan.
1994,
If you were a Liberty fan, you could know what it feels like.
Who said I'm not a Liberty fan? Hold on.
None of y'all talked about how it was preseason opener last night, did you? And
You don't care about the preseason.
We're in the playoffs, guy. What's
What
wrong
are we
with
talking
you?
about?
What's wrong
If the
with
Lakers
you?
were in it,
What's
you wouldn't
wrong
even
with
be talking
you?
about the Liberty
We're
preseason.
talking about
That's
the
not true at
playoffs.
all. Don't do me like that.
The
That's not
Liberty
true.
preseason.
Hell yeah. A chip defense? Are you
Fast
dumb?
break,
Preseason.
Fast breaks.
That
Thank
makes
you
it
so
even
much.
worse.
Fast Breaks family, thank you so much for joining us this
Opening
episode.
day, man.
We appreciate
Opening
y'all. Please go watch the Knicks Celtics.
When we get our rings,
watch
when
the
New York
Knicks
City
Celtics.
gets its rings,
Go watch the Knicks Celtics.
One
Where
of
you're gonna get
multiple.
another ring.
you said that last year, and we both got let down a lot.
We're going to get another ring this year.
Paul, did we
And
not?
We will see you next week.
new day.
Thank you for
We got-
joining.
We got let
Light
down a
the
lot.
beam.
New
We
day.
got-
Light the beam.
We got let down bad. We got
Paul,
New day.
Paul,
we got
light
let
the
down
beam.
bad.
We're out.
Why are you saying light the beam?
Light it
Yeah,
up.
why are you referencing? See, he's not a Liberty fan. He said it wrong. He said light the beam.
Light the beam is crazy.
That's not even. That's the Sacramento slogan, brother.
That's what light the beam.
Light the beam. We light it up. It's very
Okay.
different.
My fault. You're
You
right.
don't even know our other slogans, do you? New York or nowhere.
I don't know.
New York ain't for everybody. How about that? Y'all don't even know the slogan. Do the Knicks have slogans other than "Go New York, go New York, go"?
You hear how he's talking,
That's
fans.
crazy.
You hear how he's talking.
The sassiest team slogan.
He's
in all
gonna,
of NBA history.
he's gonna regret not being a Knicks fan. Let's
the
go. Knicks.
sassiest slogan in all sports history.
Let's go
New
Knicks.
York, go New
Let's
York,
no.
go.
It's let's go
Go
Knicks.
New York, go New York, go.
You forgot about F. Trey Young.
Fans.
Another slogan.
Go.
Pharaoh, deep down in his heart, is worried because he knows if the Knicks win the chip,
Go.
he gonna have to answer for that. Let's go Knicks.
What am I gonna
Let's
have to
go
answer?
Knicks. Let's
What am I
go
gonna have to
Knicks.
answer?
Let's
because
go
no-
Knicks.
because you're gonna be one of the few people in New York City that are from New York City that didn't. What do they say about people from New York that don't support the Knicks? You don't trust them. Let's go Knicks.
I support the Liberty and the Yankees and the Giants.
No. The Knicks are the team that unite the city. Let's go Knicks.
Yeah, whatever though.
End the episode. Light it. If you're looking for intellectual, informed basketball takes, and you want to bring in media that knows what they're talking about, look no further than.
Come on. It's Fastbreaks. Listen. We back with another one. Fast breaks, yeah, we coming with the takes. Never early, never late, but we always push the pace, yeah. And we really study tape, y'all just view the highlights. Man, we really watching games, yeah. You just watch from the stands. We run 3-man weeks, Paul, Dre, and Allen, yeah. Way more than a fan. We got love for the game, we don't have to pretend. Got it out the mud like you get it off the glass. I'm the run the fast break, throw me the outlet. Yeah, we got it out the mud like you get it off the glass. Time to run the fast break, throw me the outlet.